former lowlife, but now people call me the king. Tearing it up with every lyric that I bring to the table. Because I'm willing and able, I'm in more homes than Comcast cable. I got the skill that'll rattle your brain. I'm a threat like Saddam Hussein, everybody know my name. Joe Habib's a top soldier, kid they should have told you, you really need to pack a lunch. My words hit hard just like a Tyson punch, so give me a chance, I bet you I can make you dance. Show me your girl, I bet you I get in her pants. I'm breaking egos and money is what I'm stacking. Joe Habib on the mic, you know I'm down for action. Shout out to Make Beats Sir and the Beat Smith and the whole Rope a Dope radio crew. Yeah. All right, good morning, everybody. I'm a little bit behind on this one. I'm late to the party on this one, but before I dropped this video, I wanted to make sure that I dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's. I wanted to, make sure that I had all the facts. I wanted to do the proper investigation to get all the facts. And I must admit beforehand, when I saw this whole incident take place and when I saw the way it was handled, I said, this isn't right. Something is wrong here. This doesn't make sense. But I wanted to verify the information and kind of confirm my own suspicions before I said anything on it. And here we are. So in the 6th round of Terrence Crawford's fight, I believe it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, last Saturday, both of his gloves busted open during the round. And the referee stopped the fight at the time, brought Terrence Crawford over to the commission, showed the commission Terrence Crawford's gloves, and she said to the commissioner at ringside, I'm going to have him swap the gloves out after the round. And during the telecast, right? During the telecast, you could even hear Antonio Tarver saying, when this whole incident was playing out, that the actual padding of Terrence Crawford's gloves was coming out. So who knows, what amount of padding was left in the glove. So Terrence Crawford went into that ring with 8-ounce gloves. And by the time that padding came out of the glove in round 6, could have been 6-ounce gloves, could even have been 5-ounce gloves. Who knows how much padding came out of the glove? And you can argue, oh, Terrence Crawford would have won anyways. But once again, the amount of damage that Terrence Crawford, even in that short period of time, could have inflicted on David Avanesyan is crazy, right? He's already a hard puncher as it is, but imagine him punching David Avanesyan with portions of that glove that the padding has been removed and came out, right? So he's hitting him with an unpadded glove, right? So from a moral standpoint and just from a common decency standpoint, we look at this situation and we're saying this doesn't sound right. This doesn't look right. But once again, when it comes to rules, regulations, and laws, it doesn't always matter the moral standing on it or the moral opinion of a person or a group of people regarding the situation, right? If there's no law in place to, govern against a certain act, then you can't really do anything. But let's look at the Nebraska Athletic Commission's actual rule, because I did the research and I'm going to read it to you. This is under Rule 006.04, excuse me. And it's under Chapter 6, I believe. And I got this from their own rules, right? It says the gloves cannot be twisted or manipulated in any way by the contestants or others. If a glove breaks or a string becomes untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a time out while the glove issue is being corrected. All gloves must be checked by a commission official prior to the start of the bouts. Any snag, torn, or unfit gloves will not be approved by the commission. So let's read this again and let's look at the key point here. If a glove breaks or a string becomes untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. Right? So this glove issue, when it occurs, is supposed to be corrected immediately, according to this rule. There's nothing that says the round has to be completed. There's nothing that says it's under the referee's discretion. It says the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. Now, by allowing a fighter to continue fighting with torn gloves with the padding falling out, that is not having the glove issue being corrected. So they should have immediately stopped the fight, cut those gloves off, and took the replacement pair and put them on Terence Crawford. So they didn't follow their own rules. And everyone's dumping all over Crawford. They're dumping all over Avanesyan. Listen, Crawford wore these gloves. He had no idea this was going to happen. I believe that, in my opinion. I don't think this was orchestrated by Crawford. I'm going to fight David Avanesyan and hope that the gloves are going to bust open and the padding is going to come out. Because any fighter knows and believes, in my opinion, that once the glove is torn, the action is stopped and the replacement glove is swapped in for the damaged gloves. Right? What's up, Ralph? How you doing, brother? So everybody knows that, right? Every fighter knows that. I'm pretty confident in saying that, right? So the way this issue was handled was very, very incompetently, right? And people are saying, oh, well, what's David Avanesyan complaining about? He wouldn't have won anyways. Again, right? Again. It doesn't mean that he should have to go into a fight and during the fight have his opponent's gloves bust open, both of them, not just one, both, and the padding visibly coming out, right? If Antonio Tarver ringside could see the padding actually coming out, then a substantial amount of padding had to have been coming out of that glove, right? So we can argue, would he have knocked him out regardless if the padding was coming out or not? Who knows? But at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me that Terence Crawford's gloves didn't have the padding coming out of them. And his punches were not more dangerous with the padding taken out than with the padding in, or with the padding coming out, I should say, or the padding coming in. So in my opinion, David Avanesyan has a great case here for having this fight be changed to a no contest. Because the Nebraska Athletic Commission did not follow the rules. This is written in their rules. If a glove breaks or a string becomes untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. So it has to be corrected. And what does the glove issue being corrected mean? Whatever the issue is, it has to be resolved. And the issue is not resolved. We see during fights where the tape comes off or the string comes untied, and immediately the referee stops the action, brings the fighter over to his corner, and has the glove retaped, has the glove retied. So we know and have proof that during a fight, if there's a glove malfunction or a glove issue, it's taken care of right then and there during that time period where the referee instructs the timekeeper to stop the fight, and he brings the fighter over to his corner and has his trainer fix that issue. They could have cut those gloves off, put a new pair on. Probably would have taken a max, maybe 10 minutes, right? So for that referee and that commission to say, or that referee to say, and that commission to allow her to go ahead and say, we're going to finish the round with torn gloves, that is negligence, right? That's negligence. And for Everlast to come out, let's read this statement from Everlast, right? So during the developmental cycle of the custom fight glove used in the Crawford-Avanesyan, a batch of defective leather was used in production, resulting in a malfunction during competition, Everlast wrote in its statement. In such cases, Everlast follows proper protocol by providing a backup glove pairs to be replaced pending a decision by the sanctioning body overseeing the fight. So if they knew the leather was defective and they didn't pull that glove and their solution to the problem, right, was to provide a backup glove just in case the other gloves failed. That's ridiculous. If you knew the leather was defective, then you should have pulled the glove off the market and not allow it to be used. That would be like someone saying, a car manufacturer saying to you, okay, we're selling you a defective car, right, where the brakes can probably fail on you, but when they fail, just bring them in and we'll give you a new set of brakes. What the fuck does that even matter once the damage is already done? So if you're using a glove with defective leather, with the potential of that leather breaking during a fight, and your solution to that issue is to have a backup glove, what fucking good does that even matter if the damage is already done? It's ridiculous. So Avanesyan, right? Avanesyan, in my opinion, can sue the Nebraska Athletic Commission for negligence, right? And they could sue, he could sue, and even Terrence Crawford may be able to sue if he didn't have any knowledge of the glove being defective. And if Everlast didn't tell Terrence Crawford before putting these gloves on that, yeah, this particular glove, a batch of these gloves were made with defective leather. This could be one of the gloves from that batch. We're just going to let you know. If they didn't tell Terrence Crawford that, Terrence Crawford could sue them. He could sue them for gross negligence too, because what if the glove breaks and there's no padding in the glove and Terrence Crawford breaks his hand because of the padding, because the padding actually protects the fighter's hands, provides a layer of protection for the fighter's hands. So he could have hurt his hand fighting with a glove that has defective leather because it's not providing the proper protection. And obviously David Avanesyan is going to suffer damage being punched with a glove with defective leather where it could tear and the padding coming out. So both fighters can sue Everlast for negligence because they knew the leather was defective and they still sold and provided the glove to the fighter. That's negligence. And the commission acted in a negligent way as well. So a lot of potential lawsuits could happen here. Whether it was intentional or not, if you look at the law, right, in regards to negligence, whether it's intentional or not, it's like, I'm going to use another example. Say a camp counselor takes a group of children on a hike, and they're walking alongside a trail, and below the trail there's like water and there's rocks and stuff, right? And while they're walking on that trail, right, they don't have life jackets on, and one of the children falls into that water and drowns, right? Now, obviously, the counselor didn't intend for that to happen, but two things are happening here. First of all, you're walking children across a path where it could be deemed as being dangerous. That's number one. And you didn't provide life jackets for those children, right? So if one of the children falls and drowns and dies, the family could sue that counselor for negligence, whether it was intentional or not, because he acted irresponsibly. See what I'm saying? So the commission acted irresponsibly here, and so did Everlast, the maker of the gloves. So this is a level of negligence, whether it was intentional or not. It was irresponsible behavior that was unreasonable, right? So even beyond this fight being ruled a no contest, which I believe it really should be. I don't care. You can say what you want. Everyone else wants to divert to this to another story where they can get more clicks. They want to look at the clickbait aspect of this story. They want to call it Glovegate 2. And they want to try to make it out that Terrence Crawford knew this was going to happen, and he could foresee both gloves ripping open at the in the same round, and he could foresee the referee just allowing the fight to go on without having him swat. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yes, gloves have been changed. Again, I just read you the rules. That question's irrelevant, sir. It's irrelevant because if the rules are what the rules are and they're not followed, you can't use the argument that someone else broke the rules. So then two people would be wrong. But yes, gloves have been changed out during fights. I've seen it. I've seen it before. I've seen it done in local shows. If during a fight the tape comes loose or the string comes untied and you're going to stop the action and have the glove retaped, why would you not stop the action and have a torn glove swapped out? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying it was an attack, but it's a irrelevant point to the argument because it doesn't matter one way or the other, because if a rule is not followed, the rule is not followed. I just read you the rule. That's all. So, but without question, this fight should be a no contest. This fight should be a no contest. And everyone wants to talk shit about promoters, right? They want to blame promoters. They want to say, oh, well, the promoters have no morals. But if you want to get technical, we're going to deal with the uncomfortable truth of boxing. And there is a law that states that boxers have to be insured. And the promoters do have to provide insurance for the fighters. It's written in rules. Commissions have that in rules, that a fighter has to be insured before going into that ring. Right? So shout out to the commissions in that regard. But when you have instances like this, right, everyone wants to talk about, I'm going to kind of change the subject here, but you hear goofballs like Simon Jordan talking shit about Eddie Hearn. Oh, well, he was going to allow this fight to go on, right? But meanwhile, he's saying, oh, well, Conor Benn is such a nice guy. I don't want to believe this has happened, blah, 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 blah. You're giving Conor Benn all the benefit of the doubt when he was the guy that actually had the drug in the system. You're acting like Eddie Hearn put the drug in there. Like you're blaming Eddie Hearn more than you're blaming Conor Benn. That's number one, right? And number two, the commission, the British Board of Control knew about that incident, right? And they were the ones that didn't do anything about it. Eddie Hearn had a contract with Conor Benn, right? If Conor Benn is licensed to fight and the commission does not suspend him and Eddie Hearn pulls that fight, cancels that fight, Conor Benn has an enforceable contract under law and he could sue Eddie Hearn. So legally, Eddie Hearn cannot cancel that fight as long as the British Board of Control were going to sanction it. They had to pull the plug. That's the reality of the situation. And Simon Jordan can say whatever he wants. He knows this because he's dealt with contracts before, right? And he's going to go on and still 2 months later, he's talking about it and still talking shit about. And I'm not a big fan of Eddie Hearn. I think I've criticized Eddie Hearn before, but he's not wrong in this. Legally, he cannot cancel the fight as long as the commission has agreed to sanction it. Without the commission pulling the plug legally, he has a contract with Conor Benn, and Conor Benn could sue Eddie Hearn for damages if his license was not suspended or the fight itself was not canceled. Conor Benn could have sued Eddie Hearn, and so could have Chris Eubank Jr. It's simple and plain. There's no debate on it. So Eddie Hearn didn't do anything wrong, but everybody wants to divert the attention. These commissions are the ones, first and foremost, who are supposed to protect the fighters. The promoters offer a layer of protection as well, but the first line of defense for these fighters is the commission. And everyone wants to give the commission a pass. No one's yelling at the commission here. No one yelled at the BBOC as much as they yelled at Eddie Hearn and Conor and Kylie Sutherland. They want to blame the promoters. You blame the commission first and foremost. Go ahead, Ralph.
Yo, what's up, babe? How's it going?
What's going on, brother? Long time no see, man. How you been?
Long time, bro. Long time. It's cold over here in the UK. Frosty toes, mate. Frosty toes.
I got you. I'm feeling it here too.
Yeah, man. Well, the British Boxing Board of Control, it's not the first time they've kind of withheld information from relevant parties. I mean, you'll remember the Tyson Fury versus Vladimir Klitschko.
Christian Hammer, yeah.
Christian Hammer. They omitted to tell anyone that Tyson Fury had popped dirty for Nandrolone.
Correct.
So Klitschko didn't know. And that fight should have been a no contest, the Klitschko fight, because Tyson Fury shouldn't have been in the ring. And
yeah, they shouldn't have allowed that. He should have been on the suspension.
Yes, exactly.
Pending the Here's the thing, man. Pending the investigation, if you don't know one way or the other,
yeah,
you gotta give the guy a just like the Nevada State Athletic Commission gave Canelo a provisional suspension.
Yeah.
The BBOC needs to do that as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, they don't do that.
They tend not to.
And it's a conflict of interest, in my opinion, and it's kind of negligent, in my opinion.
It is negligent. It is negligent. If somebody's just popped dirty for a fight, they have to be taken out of the mix. You know, the provisional suspension. You have to be guilty until proven innocent. You know.
Then you hear this talk, and again, I don't know Conor Benn personally.
No.
But you hear guys like Simon Jordan sit there and just coddle this guy. Oh, he's a nice guy. I don't want to believe this. It doesn't matter what you want to believe. The evidence doesn't look good right now.
I'll tell you why I was surprised. And maybe other people have been surprised. It's because Conor Benn is known, not from his mouth, but he's just known to be this kind of vegan guy, clean, watch what you put in your system. He's just known to be that guy who watches what he puts in his system. So he was the last person I'd expected to pop dirty.
Yeah,
because when his dad comes over from Australia, you know, he often talked about, oh bloody hell, can't eat any meat, can't eat any this, can't eat any that. Conor's got me on this vegan thing, only greens, only this, only that, and so that's why I was very surprised.
I was surprised too. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't suspect or expect something like that to happen.
No, not
from him. I'll agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
But this whole thing, like, no one actually did the research and looked up the rule here that as soon as a malfunction happens, it needs to be corrected immediately, and it wasn't corrected immediately. You allowed Terence Crawford, whether or not you believe David Avanesyan was going to win, whether he was going to go the distance, whatever. You don't allow a fighter to punch another fighter with his gloves torn off. Those were huge tears. They weren't just small tears. Those were big tears ripped down the center of each glove, and the padding was visibly coming out.
Well, I've seen the picture. I was watching the fight. There was a tear on one thumb. Sorry, I think it was the right thumb was torn, and the left left inner glove area. No, outer glove area. Sorry, the left outer glove area. So there was a tear on the tip of the right thumb, a tip of one thumb, and then the outer area of another. But I mean, we've all seen the footage of Muhammad Ali versus Henry Cooper when Henry Cooper drops Ali. Ali gets back to the corner on wobbly legs, and his trainer, was it Angelo Dundee, just tears, cuts Ali's glove, little cut, and that was sufficient to stop the fight, so they could replace the glove. That's a classic clip. We know what happens when a glove gets torn. However, I think I know the reason they didn't stop the fight. And that was that there has been an allegation that the first gloves, Terence Crawford's first gloves, because you have two pairs, were torn in the changing room.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that.
In warm-up, allegedly.
So allegedly, the first pair was already defective, and essentially what you're saying is they actually used the backup pair during the fight. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not aware of that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It was alleged on a very big show that you were familiar with and I'm familiar with.
I don't have any problem saying it. I mean,
I don't have a problem saying it. Okay, it was on the Boxing Voice. It was alleged on the Boxing Voice. I don't have a problem with
Ness.
I ain't got a problem with Ness. We ain't got no problems. We can work that out in the ring. Anyway. It was alleged on his show by someone in the know. I can't remember what his name was. That was the sequence of events.
But here's the thing.
Okay, carry on.
Everlast came out and said that the leather was defective. Right? I can't say, or I don't know factually if Terence Crawford was given that information that, hey, these gloves that you're using are potentially or possibly defective. You know, was there any dialogue before the fight where Terence Crawford was given that information? We don't know. But Everlast, if they knew the leather was defective, then why didn't they just pull the glove and not allow fighters to use the glove? Like, just say, hey, we can't give you this glove because it's defective. We don't stand behind this glove. We're not confident that this glove will protect your hand or will provide padding or potentially not break open or whatever, cause damage to the other fighter. Is Everlast guilty of anything here, in your opinion?
Well, I think Everlast are more guilty than anyone.
Okay.
In this situation, because if the rule is that the gloves need to be changed if a defect appears during a fight, or if the referee at any point detects a defect in a glove or both gloves, if the rule is that the glove or gloves have to be changed upon detection of a defect, but yet the changes could not be made because the A pair were already damaged in the warm up, then who's at fault there? It's got to be Everlast. I mean, it's got to be, who is it? Adidas? Everlast?
Everlast, correct.
It's got to be Everlast over anything in this particular situation, because they couldn't do what the rules necessitate that they do.
Yeah. But this is a bad look for everybody involved here. I mean, because I just read you the rule from the commission. It's on their website. And clearly states that they're supposed to correct that issue immediately. There's nothing that says the round's supposed to be completed. There's nothing that says it's under the discretion of the referee. Nothing. There's nothing that states any of that. So by the referee saying we're going to swap these out after the round, that's utterly ridiculous. I have never seen such a thing in my life.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
What did they say? They're going to stop it at the end of the round?
If you go back and you hear the audio, she says we're going to swap these out at the end of the round.
But they weren't swapped out though at the end of the round, because that was the 5th round.
No, it broke in the 6th round actually.
Is it?
It broke during the 6th round. That's where she stopped. That's where she stopped it, and then she continued. And then that was the round he got knocked out in. So that's where the controversy lies. Yeah, it happened during the round. Avanesyan actually got knocked out in. So Avanesyan was being hit with gloves with padding that was coming out of them, and they were torn. And then the glove was detached. Was it the glove was detached from one of them, correct? And the other one, it was a tear on the other side, you said?
The thumb, there was padding sticking out of the thumb of one glove, and then on the outer side of the other.
So he could have gotten thumbed in the eye with the
he could have got thumbed in the eye with the padding from the one glove, but I don't think that has been a complaint. He hasn't said that he got thumbed in the eye at any point.
No, not at all.
So
but he has. Let me ask you a question. I mean, in your opinion, should this fight be a no contest based off of all the information that we have now?
He can petition. He can petition for it to be a no contest, and he might be successful. However, I don't think it would alter anything. I don't think it would get him a rematch.
I don't think so either.
So I'm not sure what it would alter. I mean, he could take a loss off his record.
Yeah.
But we all saw him lose, and I don't think anybody's in any doubt that I don't think if the stuffing had played any part in his demise, I think he would have said so. But I don't think he said so.
I think he did. Let's read David Avi. Let's see if we can find David Avanesyan. Let's see what his statement was.
Okay, let's have a look.
Because we can argue he may not. So he files an official complaint with the Nebraska Athletic Commission. So he filed the complaint. Let's see if we can get some quotes here on his complaint.
Okay.
Okay. I have serious concerns over the issue that preceded the stoppage, specifically related to a clear and obvious defect in Terrence Crawford's gloves and the origination of the same, which do not appear to be the exact gloves presented at the rules meeting. So this kind of confirms with what the Boxing Voice said, right?
Yeah.
Neil Marsh, Avanesyan's manager, wrote to the NAC Deputy Athletic Commissioner Brian Dunn in an official letter, a copy which was obtained by BoxingScene.com. I am sure you are aware that prior to the knockout, both the referee and commission raised concern that the stuffing was visibly coming out of the split glove of Terrence Crawford, which was sufficient for a timeout to be called. So they did call the timeout, and they were aware of the issue. The referee correctly called timeout and consulted the commission. I assume the WBO supervisor who inspected the defective gloves before the referee, stating, let this round go on and get another one. Allowing the fight to continue was, in my view, both irresponsible and negligent, which I said was negligent, of course, right? And such action placed Avanesyan in additional danger. According to Chapter 4, Rules 006-01 and 006-2, gloves of the NAC rules and regulations, all gloves must be furnished by promoter in new condition and also whole, clean, and in sanitary connection. The third final part of a rule states that all gloves must be examined and approved by a commission official. If any padding is found to be insufficient or the glove is otherwise imperfect or ill-fitting, the gloves must be replaced before the bout can begin. But this gentleman, okay, I think this is the rule. Yeah, this is the rule that I cited. It says Rule 006-04 stipulates that if a glove breaks or a string becomes untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout. While the glove issue is being corrected, all gloves must be checked by the commission official prior to starts of the bout. Any snag, torn, or unfit gloves will not be approved by the competition. What he fails to state here is, if you read the rule like I read it, he fails to state that while the timekeeper takes the timeout, the glove issue is supposed to be corrected. He doesn't state that here in any of his quotes. So he needs to put that in here as well. If they're going to file this case, that they need to say that in their rules, right? In their rules, it states that the issue has to be corrected. Timeout has to be taken, and the issue has to be corrected. The issue is not corrected if the glove's still torn open. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's not right. If the issue has not been, am I wrong here? in anything
No,
I'm saying. Please
no.
correct me, because I like open dialogue. I don't need to be people tell me I'm right when I'm wrong. Okay,
Could never do
so he did his due diligence, but with all due respect, the beep took it another level. The beep took it another level, and the key component here, Ralph, and tell me if I'm wrong. The key component to this rule is the timekeeper. The referee calls for a timeout. The timekeeper stops the time, and the glove issue is to be corrected. There's nothing written in this article. So that's the key component in my view. And during the telecast, it's in this article. It says both gloves are busted open. Tarver observed. So Paulie Malignaggi also said, "Look at this." Former stated on air. This is strange. Noted to Todd Grisham. You would think that the cut in the gloves were to hit Avanesyan the right way. It could slice his head open, right? So,
but the fight didn't stop due to cuts. The fight didn't stop due to cuts.
No, not at all. Not at all. But once again, the potential for the potential for danger, has to be taken into account, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the fight should have been unequivocally when there's stuffing sticking out of a glove. Excuse me. When there's stuffing sticking out of a glove, the fight should be stopped and the glove changed.
Correct.
I don't think there's anybody disagreeing with that. However, let's do a poll. However, the information that I have is that the A pair, the first pair of gloves, there's two pairs. The first pair of gloves were damaged in the changing room. Therefore, there was no opportunity, it would seem, for the gloves to be changed. So what's the situation under those circumstances where the A pair and the B pair are damaged? Arguably, let me counter argue them, B. Arguably, if the A pair and the B pair are damaged, then then is the case then that you just continue, or is there a C pair?
I believe there's a C pair. Let me double. I believe, because I've seen two backup gloves.
I don't believe there is a C pair. I mean, I believe
we'll have to verify that. We don't know for sure. We'll have to verify that. How many backup gloves are provided in a boxing match?
World Championship.
Okay, a glove or set of gloves shall be used. All gloves. Okay. ABC. Okay. We'll have to find that out and look and see how many backup pairs are provided.
Yeah.
Because in that case, your argument is maybe they used both pairs of gloves and they had nothing else to use.
So legally,
in that instance, you'd have to fucking stop the fight. In my opinion, right? You can't fight with fucked up gloves.
That's a good point.
Gloves, okay. All right, gloves, okay. When two boxes are consist of above the word, okay. Here's another. This is the ABC's rules too. The promoter shall provide one set of 8 ounce and 10 ounce gloves to the supervising commission prior to the start of the contest for use in case the gloves are damaged during a contest. Promoter shall supply gloves that are whole, clean, sanitary, and good condition. The gloves may not be twisted, manipulated, or altered in any manner. The promoter shall provide new gloves for all main events and all title bouts. When two buyers, okay. So we don't have information on how many sets of gloves are supposed to be provided. So we could argue that maybe only two. Okay. At the conclusion of event, the backup gloves will return. Okay, so I believe there's only one. Let's look at the Nevada rules. I believe that there's only one set of backups.
Yeah. That's my understanding.
I can't find any information. And again, if anyone can find information, let me know. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any information. So Ralph, your claims your claims, I believe, were backed up according to Avanesyan's manager, because he was saying that the first pair, there was an issue with, he did say that there was a issue with the first pair of gloves.
Mm-hmm.
He did say that. Let's go back and look.
Yeah. What paragraph is that? Because I'm on the same page as you. What paragraph is that?
Well, let me go back to that, because I apologize. I closed it. I'm going to open it back up again.
Okay.
Well, it's a Team Avanesyan files official complaint. So this is what we're also going to. So this was a big mess.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. I see it.
Yeah.
You got the first paragraph, which is one line. You got the second paragraph, and then it's the third paragraph. The start of the sixth and deciding round was delayed when referee Sparkle Lee called time upon observing that both of Crawford's gloves provided by Everlast were coming apart at the. Oh, that's not the one. That's not it. That's the in-ring gloves.
Yeah. Let's find it. Let's find this.
Mm.
I had serious concern over the preceded stoppage, specifically related to the clear and obvious defect as the origination, which did not appear to be the exact. So they weren't the exact gloves that were presented at the rules meeting. Right? Okay. So they weren't the original gloves that Crawford chose to wear into the ring. Okay. Avanesyan's manager wrote to the deputy commissioner, Brian Dunn. I'm sure you're aware that prior to the knockout, but whether you can raise concern over the stuffing was okay. So it's saying so it says here that those weren't the original gloves that were approved at the rules meeting. Why was that? Right? Sure, I'm sure you're aware. And that happened, I think, in one of Dillian White. Did that happen with Dillian White's fight over Oscar Rivas, where he didn't use the original gloves and he ended up going into the ring with the backup gloves instead of the originals?
Yes, he went in with the backup gloves.
So technically, if both sets of gloves are approved, is there a rule that states you can't go into the ring with the backup gloves?
Well, if both gloves are approved, then they're approved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
I don't see what the issue is if they're both approved.
Okay. So yeah, we don't know we don't know why he went. So I guess you can question why he went in with the backup gloves instead of the originals that he chose. Could you argue that maybe something was wrong with the originals, like what was being alleged here?
Yeah.
Because what would be the reason? So another thing too, maybe is if you pick two sets of gloves. Let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt here. You pick two sets of gloves, just like you buy two pairs of sneakers, right? You take the sneakers home. When you're in the shoe store, maybe that first pair you try on felt good at the time, right? Yeah. So you started walking around on them, and you're like, these don't feel that good. Let me try the second pair.
Yeah.
And then the second pair feels better than the first pair. And then you can say, well, maybe I'm going to go with the second pair now. Hold on to these other pairs as a backup in case, something happens to these first pairs or whatever. Yeah. I go out in the rain and they get wet and then I can't wear them for a day. I let them dry and then I go back to the original pair. You know what I'm saying? So in fairness, that could be a scenario. So we still don't know for sure why he did not stick with the original pair picked. We could argue that maybe upon further wearing of both pairs, he decided that the second pair was more comfortable than the first. So we'll give him that benefit of the doubt. That's fair. We'll give him that benefit of the doubt. So we don't know. But again, the boxing voice, if someone's alleging that, then that has to be taken into consideration as well. We can't take that off the table.
Well, if they went with the backup glove and then the backup gloves got busted, then they'd revert to the original gloves.
Yeah.
But they didn't do unless there was an issue with the original gloves. Theoretically.
Well, you have to argue. So why could that have been let's even go deeper into this rabbit hole.
All right.
Right?
All right.
Say the first pair were damaged.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second pair get damaged during the fight.
Yeah.
Could the referee and the commission have said we'll have to swap these out after the round because they had to go and try to find a third pair?
The third pair.
Could that be it? Could that be it? I feel like Columbo here trying to be a detective.
Well, hold on. Were they wearing the same gloves? Because if they were wearing the same gloves, then they could have given Avanesyan's backup gloves, theoretically.
Yeah, I don't know if they were using the same gloves. They may not have been. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back. One thing I did not do, I'm going to have to go back to the see if I can find some videos on the glove meetings.
They weren't wearing the same gloves. I'm looking at a picture now.
Okay, they weren't wearing it. Different brands. Okay.
They weren't wearing the same gloves, different gloves. I'm looking at the picture. You can see on the picture, Avanesyan was wearing Rival.
Okay. Okay, so let's see where we're at in this poll. I'm curious to see what the people think here.
It's tight. It's tight.
Okay. Very interesting.
Oh, it's 50-50 now.
It's 50-50.
Somebody made it 50-50.
I think the fight should be a no contest based off of the information that I've gathered right now.
I think I'd hate to see it as a no. I'd hate it to go to be noted down as a no contest just for personal reasons. I enjoyed the fight immensely, and I think Bud would have done exactly what he did to him with 100% gloves. So I'd hate it to go to no contest. Does Avanesyan have an argument to say that it should be a no contest? Yes, and I think if he petitions for it to be a no contest, then it would be made a no contest. But I'd hate that to happen because I think that the result would have been the same if the gloves were not an issue. So I'd hate it for him to happen on that basis. I enjoyed the fight immensely, so I'd hate that to be ruled as a no contest. But if Avanesyan did petition for it, then he would have strong grounds for that.
I think if we're looking at the whole thing, would Avanesyan have won this fight? I don't see a way he would have won this fight. I thought he was losing every round.
Yeah.
I thought he was getting beat up. Was the knockout inevitable? Yes. But it still, in my opinion, doesn't take away from the fact that the commission did not follow its own rule. The potential for harm here was great.
Yes.
Negligence did take place, in my opinion. It did occur.
Yes.
Through Everlast and through the referee. Through the referee and through the commission. Now, we could argue that the referee went to the commission just to verify what her options were. And if but we didn't hear the commission say anything to her. It appeared that she made the decision that we were going to swap these out at the end of the round.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say at the very least, if I had a vote here, I would say that this fight should be a no contest based on what happened, regardless of, if Crawford would have won or not. I understand that. So at the end of the day, I still think that for the sake of fair play here, I don't think a fighter should be allowed to finish a round with padding coming out of the gloves and having both his gloves torn.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, you could say that in the interest of fair play, you don't think that a fighter should be able to lose under those circumstances. Yeah. That's why, even though I don't want it to be a no contest, because I enjoyed the fight, and I don't think that the glove issue was a factor at that point. It could have been a factor later, but I don't think it was a factor at that point. I had to vote yes. I had to vote yes because really, the rules weren't followed.
Yeah,
simple as that.
There's an old saying that people say. Tulsi Gabbard, a politician, I heard her say this once. We have to deal with the world we have, not the world we want.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another way of saying you have to deal with reality, not in what you believe should be right and wrong. There is what's legally right and wrong, and there is what's morality right and wrong. That's why Simon Jordan can say all he wants, and I keep going back to this because I find it very irritating that a man like Simon Jordan, who knows contracts, who's dealt with contracts in his life, he knows legally Eddie Hearn cannot cancel that fight unless the commission pulls the plug on it first.
Yeah,
he knows that.
Yeah,
because Conor Benn would sue him. Why are you pulling? If the commission is sanctioning me and not pulling my license and not pulling the plug on this fight, you cannot cancel this fight. Simon Jordan knows that, but it's more sexy and it's better for clicks and ratings for him to go at Eddie Hearn. And again, I've criticized Eddie Hearn in the past, But he's not wrong here. Like Eddie Hearn followed proper protocol.
You have to follow
can't
protocol.
cancel this fight.
You have to follow protocols. If Eddie Hearn had cancelled the fight, he'd have left himself open to litigation.
Not just by Conor Ben, but by both fighters.
By both parties.
Both parties. You can't allow that to. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. What's up, Maestro?
Good. I'm on my phone, guys, so my audio might not be the greatest.
Oh, you sound good. All
right, awesome. So good morning, Raphael. Good morning, Joe.
How you doing, Maestro?
I'm good, brother, man. So for me, look, is it bad for Crawford that this ends in a no contest? Yeah, it's bad for Crawford. Would Crawford have likely won this fight with properly, created gloves? I think that's also very clear. I think it's also very clear that David Avanesyan was brought in as a B-side to keep Crawford busy and to give him a good payday before the end of 2022. So tick all those boxes. But in terms of the integrity of the sport, in terms of ensuring that these kind of equipment malfunctions don't occur in the future and then lead to serious injury or worse, I mean, you have to make this a no contest. I mean, the gloves are clearly defective. And unless we want a sport where you can fight with gloves like that, this has to be a no contest. I mean, it's clear. And what's also interesting to me, Joe, I can't do it because I'm on my phone and I can't bring up the signal, but I actually rewatched this fight a couple times, specifically to look at every interaction with the gloves. And what I noticed was that round after round, when we were given the video of what was going on between the rounds, the corner people were like, wiping down the gloves for whatever reason. And then at the conclusion of, I believe it was round 5, the referee went over to these commissioners and is like, what are we going to do here? They had no clue about what to do. She actually instructed them on what to do. I mean, it was her that said, we're going to go one more round and then swap them out. It wasn't the commissioner. The 3 goofballs are just standing there, not providing any kind of insight or, information about the rules or any instruction to the referee. It was the referee who's probably refereed in like more professional commissions explaining to them what to do. And I mean, if you're saying, we're going to go one more round and then swap the gloves, I mean, it's obvious that the gloves have an issue. When fighters receive a foul, they're giving up to 5 minutes, to get themselves together. But yet you can't take 5 minutes to redo some gloves. I mean, I like Bud Crawford. I don't necessarily want him to have a no contest, but this is what needs to be done. I mean, it's that simple. And again, I don't even think anyone's saying a rematch is needed here. At least I'm just saying through my vote and here on the show that a no contest is what needs to happen.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I may have misspoke here, and I think Ralph may have made this point before you came on. Were the gloves torn in before the start of the 6th, or did they happen during the 6th?
Antonio Tarver, again, I watched the replay of this fight. Anybody can do it. It's on the BLK Prime YouTube channel. Before the start of the 6th round,
okay,
right, when the referee, I believe it was in response to Avanesyan complaining, because he could obviously see it.
Okay.
Tarver's on record saying that he saw foam coming out of the glove during round number 5.
That's what
he said.
I apologize. I stand corrected. I thought
he said I didn't want to say anything, but I've been noticing foam coming out of the gloves.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So I mean, was he fighting with 8-ounce gloves, with 7.8-ounce gloves, 7.6, whatever the fact is? Even the tear itself is dangerous. By the way, it's also dangerous for the fighter. I think this also needs to be considered. What if the guy breaks his thumbs, his fingers? That's
what I said. That's what I said earlier too. I said both fighters can claim negligence against Everlast if Everlast is coming out saying that the leather was defected.
It sounds like they knew it too with their statement.
But here's the thing: did they relay that to Terrence Crawford? Hey, potentially these gloves could malfunction because There are reports. Let me finish. There are reports that some of the gloves, the batch of our gloves that we made, this brand, were defective leather. Now, did they relay that information to Terrence Crawford beforehand? That's what we don't know.
That's what we don't know. What I'd also like to know is, did they say something like, that we can't get too much moisture on these gloves?
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, can you think of a fight where every round the trainers are like spending almost the entire round wiping the gloves with a towel? Seemed quite odd to me.
These are things that I didn't. I'm sure you probably went back and looked more in detail. I didn't notice these things during the fight because I wasn't really.
No, I didn't notice it during the fight after. I went back and watched this with a 20/20 eye, and it's like after every round. I sent you the text, Joe. I don't know if you have it there still, but after round 1, after round 2. Then there's a round where they don't show the corner. Then I think it was round 4 again where they showed the corner. Every time they showed the corner, the corner was wiping down these gloves. I don't think Terrence Crawford had anything to do with this, but Everlast is on record saying that the gloves were defective and that there was a bad batch of leather. So.
What is that indicative of? The corner wiping the gloves? What does
I don't know, but we know that. I'm not saying that they caused the issue. I'm just saying, in response to Joe's question, were they informed that there was an issue with these gloves and maybe they needed to be kept dry or something? I don't know. The point is, what we do know is that there was an equipment malfunction in both gloves. What we do know is Antonio Tarver was saying that foam was coming out of the gloves. What we do know is that it was caught by the referee at some point. They went over to the commission. The commission had no clue about what the fuck they were doing. And she told them, let's go one more round and then swap it.
I read you. Were you on when I read the rule?
Yeah, that's when I joined in. I had a late start this morning. Sorry, I was.
The rule states they're supposed to correct the issue right then and there. They're not supposed to let the round continue.
So then it's a no contest. It's that simple.
They broke their
I don't know.
rule.
I don't know how anybody adjudicating that hearing, Joe. If you were on the panel of that hearing, Raphael, if you were on the panel of that hearing. And Avanesyan's team says, look, rule whatever, section C.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to say it was violated, no?
Yeah. It's a no contest. It's a no contest.
There's two potential answers to the question. One, answer A, which I think is the correct answer. The rules are violated, therefore we have to rule it a no contest. Yeah. Option B is the rules were violated, but we don't feel that at that point in the fight it had any effect. That's option B.
Yeah, and that unfortunately is going to be a counter argument to it. But let's read it. Let's read it one more time. This is rule.
But that's a very subjective thing. Does it have any effect on that? I mean,
yeah, that's once again, you can't deal with subjectivity. We got to deal with
objectivity. Avanesyan could say, yeah, it did have an effect. I was looking at the guy's gloves. Foam was coming out. I noticed the rips. It was distracting to me. Like, that's subjective.
I want to say this. I want to say this before you go to that. And this directly relates to this situation. Sometimes the decision arrived at is the decision that is considered best for the A side. Therefore, on Saturday gone, there was a decision that was universal in the UFC, that was universally disagreed with. Paddy Pimblett, a fighter from the UK, Liverpool, who is being pushed by the UFC because they consider he's got some, he could be the replacement for Conor McGregor, lost a fight. It's universally accepted that he lost that fight. However,
one quick second, Raphael. I don't know anything about this situation. Can you just explain how he lost the fight?
Yeah, no, I can't explain how he lost the fight because I didn't watch it. But it is universal. It is universal.
It was a disputed decision that he won.
Okay, so it wasn't like a knockout that was controversial.
No. The other guy won on points. But it is universally accepted that Paddy Pimblett lost that fight on points.
Mm.
It went to the judges, and the judges voted unanimously that Paddy Pimblett won the fight.
Mm.
Now, I don't think the judges really thought that Paddy Pimblett won the fight, but they gave a decision that was the right decision for the A side, the right decision for the organization.
Kind of like Teofimo Lopez and Sandor Martin at the Garden, where there was an extra wide scorecard there that made you say, really? You had it that wide?
Yeah. Well, so basically some decisions are arrived at because it is considered better for the money side overall. And on that basis, I say there could be a dispute in the athletic commission if they vote on it. There could be a dispute on that basis. Now, you may say it's a dubious basis, and I would accept that it is a dubious basis. But it is a basis which we have seen time and time again in the sport, a decision going for the money side.
Well, I mean, the difference here, though, I think, Rafael, is that here there's a clear rule violation. It's not really as much of a subjective scoring issue. I mean, it's a violation of their own rules.
I understand.
Here's another problem, and this is going to actually add credence to what Rafael is saying. So the title of this article, and when you read this article, it kind of suggests and more importantly confirms, says Avanesyan files official complaint with the commission. So he's filing a complaint he's like going to the commission and filing a complaint with them, right? Mm. So why would they, they're going to probably try to justify why they did what they did. So if you're filing a complaint with them and asking them to change their decision based off of their own rules, just like what the WBC does with their rules, they're going to flip it and turn it and try to justify it in their favor. What needs to be done is there needs to be an outside lawsuit filed against the commission.
I agree, but here's the issue with that.
Let me finish. Yeah. There needs to be an outside case filed against this commission, which basically would prove negligence, right? And them not following their own rules. But the big thing here is negligence.
I agree.
Whether intentionally or not.
I agree, but here's what will happen. If they try to go to a court, the first thing the court is going to say is, listen, you haven't exhausted the process that you signed on to. You agreed to fight under this commission's rules. This commission says that in an issue of dispute, you have to file a grievance with the commission. Now, if you don't like what the commission has done and you don't like their final ruling, then you can come to us and say that essentially they broke their own contract and they were being negligent. Does that make sense?
100%. That makes a ton of sense. That you're
probably and I know this from personal experience, because being in a union, I mean, as a union employee, you can't sue your employer without first having gone through
I understand.
The collectively bargained thing that you signed on to as an employee. Now, if you have an issue with that, then you can take it up after and say that, they didn't follow their own rules.
Makes sense.
There is a set of procedures you have to go through in a
proper protocol. Yeah, I got it.
Proper protocol.
I got it.
Yeah. Now, Jeffrey DeRuzan makes an interesting point. Good afternoon, Jeffrey, or good morning, where you are. He says the issue here is, if nothing is done, it sets a huge and bad precedent for the sport. Yeah. And that's true, but you see, you have to factor in, you just come in, Jeffrey, you have to factor in what I said originally. There is an allegation that the A gloves were damaged in the changing room in warm-up. So if that allegation is true, then these were the B set of gloves that were being used. Now, if that is also true, then that means there was no C set. There was no C gloves. There was no C set of gloves. So this whole thing could have come about simply due to the fact that the A pair of gloves were damaged.
And Avanesyan's manager confirms that Terrence Crawford went in there with the B gloves.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, then if this happened in Vegas or in a more professional commission, right, they would have a list of approved gloves that are allowed to be used under their jurisdiction. And in that case, they'd have to go to a pair of those gloves.
So Maestro,
yeah.
and maybe you can help us out here.
Yeah.
We know during the gloves meeting that there's 2 gloves selected.
Yes.
Is there also a third? Is there a third pair? Like what is the procedure and the protocol?
The procedure, as I understand it in Nevada, is that they have a list of approved gloves, right, from various manufacturers. And what happens with these gloves oftentimes is that fighters like to wear custom gloves, right? Gloves with their colors and all of that. So those gloves have to go through like an extra kind of vetting process to make sure that they're okay. So Crawford's A pair and B pair appear to both be custom Everlast gloves. Well,
they were the same brand.
Yeah, but guess what? There's also stock gloves that have been pre-approved that could have been swapped. And I remember hearing a story of when they even had to take B gloves from another fighter that were 8-ounce gloves or whatever, because that's what they have to go to, as long as those gloves have been pre-approved and are from a pre-approved list. And by the way, even if there weren't any C gloves available, that still doesn't mean you send a fighter in with defective gloves and you also put another fighter in to fight the guy with defective gloves. I mean, there have been all kinds of things that have happened where the A side has been affected because rules were violated. I mean, the one from my childhood that comes to mind was when Roy Jones Jr. hit Montel Griffin when Montel Griffin was on the ground. And to those people's credit, they ruled it a disqualification. They didn't force Montel Griffin to continue. They didn't even try to make it a no contest. I mean, a rule had been broken. At that point, Roy Jones Jr. was one of the biggest stars in the sport of boxing, But guess what? He got DQ'd. And I'm not even saying that they should have DQ'd Crawford. I'm just saying this fight should be a no contest because we cannot allow in our sport of boxing fighters to fight with gloves in that state. It's just, I mean, think about it. Even when the tape is coming off of gloves, what has to happen, Joe?
It has to be the fight stopped. The fighter goes back to his corner and his trainer retapes the glove.
Right. And was this was this worse? Or, I mean, to me, this is worse than a little bit of loose tape, with all due respect.
I mean, the rule clearly states that the issue is supposed to, I'll read it one last time for people who are coming on late. And I hate to sound redundant, but for the sake of
it's necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary here. So this is rule 006-4. This is in chapter 5, I believe. And it says the gloves cannot be twisted or manipulated in any way by the contestants or others. If the glove breaks or a string becomes untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. So it has to be corrected as soon as it occurs. Nothing in this says that you're supposed to wait till after the round or at the referee's discretion. There's no discretionary part of this rule at all. This is a clear-cut, black and white rule where the issue needs to be corrected immediately. Am I interpreting this incorrectly? I mean, I'm reading
you're interpreting it 100% correct. And there's nothing in that rule that says, you know what? We'll just correct it at the end of this round and then we'll swap it.
There's nothing that states that. And it's grossly irresponsible. It's grossly negligent that you would allow the fight. And I think Ralph mentioned this earlier. As soon as Muhammad Ali's glove was discovered that it was cut and torn open during the Henry Cooper fight, they didn't wait to swap it out. They didn't start the round and say, we're going to finish the round and do it out. Like, we have evidence. I apologize to Lennox. I kind of snapped at him earlier in this broadcast. Yes, has it ever happened? Ralph brought it up with Henry Cooper and Muhammad Ali. They immediately swapped out the glove. Immediately.
Well, Lennox was also saying, with all due respect, that nobody cares about Avanesyan. Crawford was going to win the fight anyways. It seems like that what he was saying. I don't care who the fighters are. I don't care if there's an A side and a B side or two B side. I don't care if these are two journeymen fighting in a what do they call those fights that take place when there's too much TV time that they need to burn? A filler fight. I mean, I don't care what fight it is. I don't care who the fighters are. In professional boxing, you cannot have fighters fighting with defective gloves like that. And what was Avanesyan supposed to do? Refuse to fight? I mean, I guess he could have done that. But, I mean, what happens when a fighter refuses to fight, Joe? I mean, he's at risk of losing his purse. He's at risk of all kinds of stuff. Getting TKO'd, getting disqualified. What? He's supposed to have a protest there in the middle of the ring? He's a professional fighter. Referee says fight to a professional fighter. What's a professional fighter going to do, Joe? And Rafa?
He's going to continue to fight. What's a fighter's instinct to do first and foremost? Most people, fighters aren't normal people, and I say that respectfully. They're not. I'll rephrase that. They're not like everyday people. There's what's called fight or flight. You put a fighter in a fight or flight position. What's his instinct? It's going to be to fight. Whereas me, I'll probably run away from the person at Walmart checking out my groceries. That's just the way people are different that way.
You gonna run away from the old lady?
At this age, yeah, I have arthritis in every joint in my body, man. I don't think I can handle myself right now. But regardless, that's the way it is. That's life. So it's in a fighter's instinct more often than not to fight. And people can criticize Daniel Dubois, right, for him taking that knee in the fight with Joe Joyce. But you have to also say how many people would have the normal person probably as soon as that injury occurred would have stopped. This guy went on for 11 rounds with his eye being damaged like that.
Let's look at Billy Joe Saunders, who criticized him. Yeah, when the very same thing happened to him, his very next fight, he was out of there immediately. Dubois suffered that injury for a number of rounds and carried on.
Yeah, and his injury was confirmed by an ophthalmologist that there was retinal bleeding. And the eye actually fell in the back of the socket. It was moving around in the socket. Yeah. And if he continued, the potential for blindness was high. Right? We don't even know the extent of Billy Joe Saunders' injury because it was never really confirmed.
Never confirmed.
This guy had an ophthalmologist who examined him and did the surgery, tell you exactly what the issue was. So I immediately. And again, people can have their own opinion. I'm not here to be the moral fucking compass for anybody, excuse my language. Yeah. But I took offense to people criticizing Daniel Dubois. I thought it was just wrong.
I thought it was crass.
I thought it was horrible.
Yeah, it was ugly. I mean, the guy's a fighter. The guy he fought through the injury. We saw him fight through the injury, and it came a point where he goes, you know what? I could screw myself up for permanently if I don't take this damn knee. So he took the knee, which was the intelligent thing to do. You know what I'm saying? It was the intelligent thing to do. Now, in conclusion, because I got to shoot off now. In conclusion, my stance on this is that Bud Crawford won. He was going to win. The stuffing, I don't believe the stuffing played a part in it yet. It may have done had the fight continue. It should have, as according to the rules, it should have been stopped. The gloves should have been swapped out. I question whether the A pair was already damaged, as I have heard. So they were using the B pair already. The question mark then becomes, is there a C pair? And is there a D pair? And is there an E pair? How many pairs does a boxer, how many pairs of gloves does a boxer have at his disposal during any one bout? However, regardless of that, Avanesyan side can say that doesn't matter. The rules are it doesn't pair if you're on pair Z. The rules are if pair Z are damaged, the fight must be stopped and you must go to pair A1 again. And I think that's a fair point, regardless of the fact that I believe that Crawford was going to win. Crawford did win. regardless of the fact that I don't believe that the damaged pair was playing a role in the fight at that point yet. Regardless of that, I think Avanesyan, you have to stick to the rules. Avanesyan has a strong argument to request a no contest. However, it's not a slam dunk that a no contest would be ruled using the example I gave earlier. And with
Rafa, that was a very great breakdown. I got to commend you for that. Great.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know. Well, I don't know if Joe agrees, but I'm pretty sure that you would probably say the same thing if AJ was in Avanesyan's position, correct?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
If AJ was in Avanesyan's position against, let me think, against Tyson Fury.
Yeah, and Tyson Fury's gloves were coming undone, right? And the stuffing was coming out, and there were rips in it. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't change because AJ was in Avanesyan's position, would it?
Well, hold on. If Avanesyan was getting battered, so what you're saying to me is AJ was getting battered by Tyson Fury, battered every round by Tyson Fury. The tears in the glove were not yet playing a factor. The man was getting battered. So it's the same situation as this now. Same situation.
Exactly. My point there is that I know you like AJ, and in AJ's case, he comes to the fight with a bigger name and a bigger profile than David Avanesyan, correct? So it's not an A side against like a B minus. It's like, two really big stars coming together. And what I'm saying is your objective analysis would not change given the fighters changing, correct?
Correct, because the guy's getting battered. If the scenario was different, and if Avanesyan appeared to be in with a chance, if Avanesyan was rocking Crawford, so it would look like something close to a 50-50 fight, then that's a totally different scenario.
There you go. And what's also interesting is we've heard it for the first time here live on Ringside Reporter Live, Mr. Joe Habib. Rafael Dawkins thinks that AJ would get battered round after round by Tyson Fury.
That's what you heard.
We got the clip. We can clip it up. It's a YouTube short. We're good to go.
Well,
if that's what you think you heard, then that's all good in the hood, my friend. If that's what you think you heard. And for the record, Lennox Lewis is king. So let's not get it twisted. Check the ballistics. Gentlemen, good day to you both and everybody in the chat. Thank you very much.
This is the first time I'm ever going to say this to you, Ralph.
Yeah.
I agreed with 100% of your analysis today. Well, the stars may have all aligned correctly today, or something may have happened. We may even be in the quantum realm. But this is a first that I've agreed with you on something 100%.
All I'm saying to you is that sometimes it takes a little while for genius to be recognized. And with that, gentlemen, good day.
Fair play to you. Yeah, so I know we talked about this, Maestro, and the big thing here is I wanted to make sure I did all the research, and I even said to you, I have to find out what the actual protocol is when this occurs during a round. When a glove breaks during a round, does a referee have discretion whether or not he or she could stop the fight? At what time is it written that it has to be corrected immediately, or does the referee have leeway? And the rule clearly states not only by the Nebraska Athletic Commission, but also the ABC has an identical ruling where it's supposed to be changed out and corrected immediately. It says it's supposed to be corrected immediately, right?
Correct. And Nebraska is signed on to the ABC.
Yeah. Most commissions in the United States are not, for the most part that I know of. So proper protocol was not done here. Did not play out the way it was supposed to play out. They broke their own rules, and this needs to be corrected. This needs to be a no contest. And if it does not get changed to a no contest, then it makes everyone involved look incompetent. And
it also puts another stain on the integrity of the sport.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Drew Eagle says,
And by the way, all of the people that were up in arms, I got to say this too, Joe. All of the people that were up in arms about Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and Chris Eubank Jr. agreeing to fight Conor Benn, even though Conor Benn had tested positive. I'm just not getting the same. I'm not getting the same reaction, Joe. When it comes, it's like apparently PEDs are like a bigger issue than faulty equipment. It's like PEDs are a bigger issue than every other possible thing in the sport of boxing.
Once again, how long have both of us been saying this? Like punching a guy with padding not in the gloves and potentially having the glove compromised. The potential for harm and danger is so much greater than someone taking phentermine, an appetite suppressant. But when Valdez took that phentermine, and again, he broke a rule. Was it handled 100% properly? Should he have been stripped? Yes. Should the fight have been allowed to continue and go on? I didn't have a problem with the fight going on, but I do think he should have been stripped of his title. But again, whatever the case may be, as you stated, and as I've stated several times, this story, for whatever reason, isn't sexy enough. And it is being talked about now, but you know what? But it's being misconstrued. In order to make it more clickbaity, what people are trying to do now is try to come up with this narrative that this was orchestrated by Terrence Crawford in an attempt to give himself an advantage in this fight, and people are calling this Glovegate 2.
No. This is not what it is. And
not what it
again,
is.
I've seen that criticism before. We're comparing it to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. No, the allegation of Tyson Fury was that he and his corner were specifically tampering with the glove, right? At worst, in this case, you could make the argument maybe, and again, this is a big maybe, that they were trying to prevent the damage to a B glove based on them seeing that the A glove was already damaged. So maybe they were trying to keep it clean to preserve it or whatever the case may be. But nobody's saying that they were tampering with the glove to give themselves a competitive advantage and that there was a clear case of cheating. In this case, what we're saying is, at least I'm saying, I'm not speaking for anybody else here, equipment malfunctioned, right? At worst, the corner was doing everything they could to prevent the equipment from malfunctioning based on an experience in a locker room. The equipment malfunctioned. At that point, the commission dropped the ball because the commission should have not allowed the fight to continue without a properly fitting, non-destroyed pair of gloves. They didn't do that. It should be a no contest, period.
Well, the whole thing with Fury too is like people, he's flicking his glove, opening his hand when he's throwing the jab, and technically that is illegal. But then we're going to have to go down history, and we're going to have to say Muhammad Ali did the same thing. We're going to have to say that Tommy Hearns, like Tommy Hearns did the same thing. You can Sugar Ray Leonard did the same thing. A lot of people use the flick jab. And technically, your glove does have to be closed.
But Joe, you just did something.
But the referee has to say, stop, close the glove or whatever, and do it. Just like when Muhammad Ali used to grab guys behind the head and pull them down. All those things are illegal. But the punishment for those things are the referee is supposed to say, stop doing it. You know, how many fighters in the history were disqualified and had points taken away for throwing a flick jab?
Well, again, but here's the thing, Joe. The same people that are complaining. The same thing of people that are complaining about jab, Joe, don't know what that jab that you're referring to is, nor do they know the difference between a European hook and an American hook.
Correct.
I mean, you're talking to people that have got a very rudimentary, I would dare to even say novice understanding of the technical aspect of the sport of boxing. Do they know what a European hook is? Do they know how it's different from an American hook?
Most people
probably
don't.
Not.
Most people don't.
So it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, this I'm curious to see how this whole thing plays out. I really am. I don't see enough people breaking it down in this way. No one's really addressing the rule. And even Avanesyan's manager was talking about the rule, and he himself forgot to mention the part of the rule where it actually states that the timeout's supposed to be taken and the glove issue is supposed to be corrected at that time. He didn't cite that portion of the rule. So he left that part out, which is, in my opinion, the most important part of that rule, if I'm going to be honest, where it just tells you, just like we've seen it, like as you said, when the tape comes off, the strings get untied. Those issues are taken care of immediately. This is a much more serious issue. So if a more minor issue is taken care of immediately, why wouldn't the major issue be taken immediately as well? Chances of getting overturned is low. Yeah, I mean, once again,
because he's the A side versus the B side, right?
I think that's a fair. I mean, I think Drew is right when he says that. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I'm still going to have my opinion on the position, and I think that if we're being objective and we're looking at it from a rules standpoint, right? Not a moral standpoint. You can take the morality, the emotion, the personal feelings out of it. The rules are what the rules are. And if you're going to have a rule, you might as well follow it. You know?
Agreed. I mean, this is a no-brainer to me. I'm sorry. You know.
In the chat, I did the poll, should the fight be a no contest? 43% said yes. 57% said no. So, you know, I
think Lennox was best at the most salient point, I guess, then in the chat, right? Nobody cares about Avanesyan, because that's really what this boils down to. Yeah. He's a B-sided fighter. B-side means you were supposed to lose. You were supposed to get knocked out. So who cares if he was knocked out with faulty equipment? He would have got knocked out anyways. Isn't that the general sentiment there, Joe?
Unfortunately, that is the general sentiment. He would have lost anyways. He would have got knocked out anyways. And that doesn't matter. No one cares at the fact that Terrence Crawford was allowed to fight a whole round with padding taken out of his gloves and the potential damage. And we don't even know if that added to Avanesyan's damage in the fight. Because if you look, he was getting hit a lot early in the fight. But all of a sudden in that round 6, the punches did have more effect than they did in the previous rounds. Now, you could argue that's because Terrence Crawford stepped up the pace, but you could also argue because he was hitting him with gloves that didn't have as much power.
And he could argue, and he could just point to the point in the video where Antonio Tarver, who's there ringside doing live commentary, clearly says that he saw foam coming out of the glove in the previous round.
And look at Lennox. Look at Lennox was best, coming up with a horrible.
Can you put it on the screen, Joe? Because I can't see it. I'm on my phone.
He's telling you you're straw manning, right? But he just straw manned himself. But you just said rabid punching and excessive clinching happens all the time. Technically, they should be a no contest too. That's like comparing speeding to drunk driving. You're making a false equivalency here. When rabid punching occurs and clinching occurs, the referee tells the fighter to stop doing it.
That's at the referee's discretion. This rule is not at the referee's discretion.
And gives him a warning, right?
This rule is not a rule. It's at the referee's discretion. It's a black and white rule. The referee should have no say in it at all. The referee is there to determine what's an illegal punch and what's an illegal punch. This is an asinine statement. And unfortunately, it's coming from somebody who's been making quite a lot of asinine statements on your channel and on my channel. I'm just going to keep it real.
We're gonna let Fight Film's been waiting for a little while. Let me see what's your stance, brother, on this whole thing.
What's up, Joe Habib?
What's
Maestro?
going on?
Real quick, I've been listening to maybe for about 20 minutes, and I can't really disagree with anything that's been said. That's not just opinion. But I didn't hear you guys mention this, so I will. What happened to the gloves, right? Because you know Crawford's going to catch heat. You knew this was coming. The easiest way to exonerate him, put the blame on Everlast, if that's indeed the case, is to just let somebody inspect the gloves. He's got nothing to lose unless, and I'm not saying that proves that there was tampering or anything like that, but it would have been so easy to exonerate him. Just give an independent body the gloves to inspect, and this goes away. unless, like I said, maybe there was some tampering, right? So it looks bad. And another thing is, and Tarver pointed this out during the show, is that he noticed, and I went back and I watched the fight, and the earliest that I noticed the problem with the gloves was in the 4th round already.
Yeah.
So somebody had to have seen this, and I believe the reason why they didn't do anything about it is because no one on the commentary team said anything. And as soon as Tarver mentioned something, then it became an issue. So that looks bad too. But I got shit to do. I just wanted to contribute that because I didn't hear you guys talking about this, and I'll just listen in the background.
Thank you, Fight Film, and I hope you're subscribed to this channel. If you're not, please subscribe. Hit the like.
All right, man.
I take it easy, fellas.
Thank you, Precise, man. Nice hearing from you again, bro.
First time I've heard from Fight Film. Maybe you're familiar with him. I don't remember hearing from him before. That's
Precise. That's Precise Presenter. He's an old G on here, and even though we've had disagreements in the past, but I've always respected his opinion. But yeah, he's an old G. But yeah, I again, if you look, there's a lot of things. If you go back and look, like for instance, he's saying that there's the issue started in the 4th round. I'm sure if you really go back and look, then these gloves didn't just bust all of a sudden at one time. There must have been a tear that started early and just got bigger and bigger as the fight went on. So the tearing, I have to go back and watch, but he's saying that the tearing even started. There was an issue starting as early as the 4th round, right?
Well, yeah.
And not only that, and this is what Ralph was citing the Boxing Voice interview. Someone on the Boxing Voice said that the original pair was swapped out because the original pair was damaged because he entered the ring with the B gloves, right? Instead of the A gloves, which was the first pair that he chose, which was the first pair at the gloves meeting that he decided he was going to wear into the ring, and he ended up going into the ring with the backup pair. So you have to ask yourself, was the backup pair damaged as was alleged? So this also speaks to what Precise was saying just then was, did they know that there was a problem with these gloves beforehand, and they still went ahead and used them anyways?
Well, that's the only reason I brought up the issue of constantly wiping down the gloves between rounds and whether they knew that the other round or the other gloves got damaged because they were too moist or something. I really don't know. I find it very interesting, though, that Everlast is on record saying that it was a bad batch of leather. Well, then they shouldn't have sent the gloves.
It's like
if
this,
it's Maestro. Why the fuck did you send the gloves if it was a bad batch of leather? Like, I don't understand that.
It's like this, Maestro. If you own a car and a group of people own that car, say, hey, this airbag was defective, and only some of the people experience that problem, not all of the people, right? What happens? Everyone that owns that car gets a letter in the mail, bring your car in to get checked, and they do a recall on that specific airbag. They don't just say if you've experienced the problem, right? They don't put a Band-Aid on the issue. They don't say wait until this happens and then get it taken care of, because the potential for injury and danger is great. So if you knew that there was a bad batch, and maybe not all of the gloves were defective, but there's a batch that were, and you can't pinpoint which exact ones were damaged, then what do? You scrap the whole brand and do a recall on the whole brand. So this is gross negligence.
Are they recalling gloves? And then in the end of the statement, it's like, yeah, well, we have a good customer service program that allows people to return. What are you, Walmart now? Matter of fact, you sell your shit at Walmart. My colleague at work, like we're both boxing guys. He's still an active amateur at the elite level here in the United States. It's like he's telling me he was at TJ Maxx the other day. They had Everlast. When's the last time you seen Winning, Cleto Reyes, or Rival at TJ Maxx on discount, 50% off? We have a bunch of Everlast gloves in our gym. The leather on them, or I don't know, maybe it's leather, maybe it's plastic. I don't know. It's all peeling. They're the worst gloves that we have in our gym. I've got these Chinese gloves off Amazon that are like literally 10 times better than Everlast. And Everlast is a Bronx company. It's the worst part.
I've used Everlast bag gloves several times in the past as a young kid. And every time in the middle right here, that padding always breaks. And you always have that big hole in the middle of your glove if you're using an Everlast glove. I stopped using them, and I started using, at that time, I started using the Ringside brand.
I got my kids using Tidal. Tidal gloves are actually better for us right now, believe it or not.
Probably so. But Everlast makes shit gloves, bro. And Deontay Wilder, right? When he used the Everlast MX gloves, and each time he used that glove, what did he do? He fucking broke his hand.
His hands broke.
It's not a well protective glove. It's not a good glove. And
he couldn't use Clayton Reyes. He had to use Everlast, I guess, because he's an Everlast fighter, much like Errol Spence Jr. and others. I believe Terrence Bud Crawford is an Everlast fighter. So they're kind of tied into a company that's really got to do some quality checking and get their shit together when it comes to these gloves. They need to stop focusing on Walmart, TJ Maxx, Target, Marshalls, Burlington Ghost Factory, and start working on creating an actual professional quality glove for fights. But I think it's a company that's transitioned away from that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but it's mostly.
I was just gonna.
They're mostly focused now on the discount I was about to say computer. Discount consumer market.
They're more targeting their products toward the weekend warrior, as opposed to the actual fighter. And I think that was similar to what you were probably alluding to. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, 100%. That's what I was saying.
And before you said it, I was going to say the same thing. I was thinking the same thing that you just said. So, yeah, I think this is going to shine a light on Everlast products, and this is a bad look. And once again, David Avanesyan just made a 7-figure payday, right? I'm not here to pocket watch, but if he wants to take this thing to the highest level, then he can sue a lot of people here. And he'll win. And he'll probably get damages here. He could probably get damages here because the position they put him in was very dangerous as well. I mean, you know this as well as I do. It was the potential for danger being put in this situation was so great. And Everlast admitting that the leather was defective, excuse me. And they didn't do a recall on this brand and pull these gloves off the market after knowing that the leather was faulty and substandard and damaged, right? And they didn't do a recall on this. That's gross negligence in my opinion. It's gross negligence in my opinion.
100%.
There's absolutely no way Everlast can justify their behavior here. None. And the commission as well. They cannot justify their behavior here. None. And then I think we also alluded to this, maybe because Omaha is not used to doing big events like this. This is not their forte. This is not the Nevada. This was the Nevada State Athletic Commission. This is the New York State Athletic Commission. Best believe this glove would have been swapped out immediately. Immediately,
especially in New York, because New York's already dealt with a high judgment against them. Over failing to protect the fighters, the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The New York State Athletic Commission.
And even if David Avanesyan is successful in getting this fight changed to a no contest, even if that does happen, I'm still suing Everlast. I'm still suing the Nebraska Athletic Commission for negligence. Whether or not you can prove the negligence was intentional or not,
negligence doesn't need to be intentional. Negligence doesn't need to be intentional.
There's still a tort in the law that states you can get damages for unintended consequences, whether it was intentful or not. So it is what it is. So Fury isn't a glove cheat, but Crawford is. Get the fuck out of here. Once again, this is horrible that you would make a statement like this.
First of all, you're not listening. First of all, you need to work on your listening skills.
Yeah.
No one here has said that Crawford's a drugs cheat. So no, actually, you need to get the fuck out of here because you can't listen.
So the thing is, this is the person, obviously, that just wants attention, that's just looking to get in an argument, that's just trying to elicit a specific response, guess what, brother? I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait here. We know what you're trying to do, and it's an epic fail. It's an epic fail. You know, the commission didn't do its job. Everlast didn't do its job. Crawford did his. He did what he was supposed to do.
He did exactly what he's supposed to do.
It's not his job.
And when Crawford's told to fight with faulty equipment, he's supposed to do, say no.
It's not his job to do the job of the commission. The commission and the referee are supposed to stop. Where does it say in the rule? Let's read the rule once again. Where does it say in this rule that the fighter is supposed to stop and change his own gloves? It says the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. So where does it say that the responsibility on correcting the glove is on the fighter? See you later. Lazy people who don't have the ability. But again, you know, you had a specific response you were looking for, and we're not going to take the bait. We're not going to take the bait. Uneducated. You know, there's the old saying. It's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it. And guess what? You just proved you were a fool because you didn't read. You didn't listen. You didn't read the actual rule. You actually think that the fighter is supposed to change his own gloves out when he enforces the rule instead of the commission and the referee.
Nobody's blaming.
This person actually thinks
nobody's blaming Crawford. Now it's chill bro time because you told us to get the fuck out of here, but now it's chill. Now it's chill mode time, right?
You actually think how long have you been watching boxing and you think that the fighter can make the rules? The fighter makes the rules. The commission doesn't make the rules and doesn't enforce the rules, and the referee doesn't enforce the rules. So guess what? From now on, when a fighter holds another fighter, right? He's going to say, the referee's not going to say break anymore. The fighter will say break. Break. Like we're not going to have referees anymore. We're not going to have.
No, you know what it's like? It's like street basketball. Joe, it's like street basketball. You call your own fouls. We're out here playing 3-on-3, right? At the back of our middle school, we're calling our own fouls, right? And one. I guess that's how we're supposed to run boxing, right?
Once again, if you park in a spot where it says no parking, that's a traffic violation. Is it the same as a DWI? Is the punishment ever going to be the same? So you want to bring up other rules, and when you want to make false equivalencies of rules. So what is the penalty when a fighter holds? The referee says break, and they. But
who determines that rule though, Joe? Is it the commissioner or is it the referee?
And here's the thing: you can hold somebody, and before the referee even jumps in and tells you to break, you can release the clinch, and the violation is then null and void at that point in time. So once again, stop making false equivalencies. Rape is not telling a girl, "Hey, I want to fuck you," is not the same thing as actually doing it and forcing yourself on that woman. The punishment's not the same. That's still a form of sexual misconduct, but it's not the same. And I hate to use something graphic as that, but sometimes I have to. Just like these Me Too movement people were taking everything that was done to women and putting it in a box and saying that the punishment for all of the incidences should be the same, or you know, that's not the case. Stop making false equivalencies. Stop making false equivalencies.
My wife is out here throwing punches at me, shadow boxing, Joe. So it's gonna be Joe. She's yelling, "Tell him, Joe!" in the background. Tell him, Joe.
Stop making false equivalencies.
Yeah.
By telling a girl, telling a woman, hey, baby, I wanna have sex with you right now. That's misconduct at the workplace. and you get reprimanded for that, suspended or whatever, potentially you could get fired for that. But you're not going to go to jail for that.
No, but physical assault, sexual assault is a totally other case.
You're going to jail for that.
100. You should go to jail for that, especially in the workplace.
Stop comparing flicking a jab out. Stop comparing holding a fighter
with effective gloves.
With padding not being in a glove.
And with the rule that is adjudicated by commission, not a rule that's interpreted by a referee. Joe, on that note, I'm going to get up out of here.
Man. Thanks for stopping in, man.
Thank you for allowing me to come on late and being accommodating, bro. I appreciate it.
Always, brother. Always. No problemo, brother.
Thank you for your understanding. You take care.
Yeah. All right, man. So to sum this all up, no one's blaming Crawford because we don't know that he knew that those gloves were defective. We can't prove that. We can't prove that Everlast informed him beforehand that these gloves were defective. Everlast did not release this statement until after the fight. So there's no way we can prove that either fighter knew that these gloves were defective, right? But now Crawford also has a legal argument here against Everlast because he could sue Everlast for negligence too, because they knowingly potentially gave him faulty gloves in which he could damage his hands. Because if that leather was faulty and that leather rips and the padding comes out of those gloves, Crawford can not only damage his opponent, but he could damage his own hands. So both fighters can sue Everlast. That's number one. And even Avanesyan can not only sue Everlast, but he could also sue the commission for negligence for putting him in a dangerous situation by not stopping that fight and swapping those gloves out immediately. Now, are we blaming Crawford for anything? No, zero. What we are blaming Everlast here for knowingly allowing and not telling a fighter. We don't know if they informed the fighter beforehand, so we can't accuse them of that, but that's potential. What would you sue them for? Very easily. Did you read? Again, you guys got to do your homework and research before you make comments. I'm going to read you the statement once again. And I'll explain to you what can be done here. Everlast takes blame for Terence Crawford's defective gloves. Everlast accepted responsibility, right? Let's read the exact quotes from them. During the development cycle of this custom glove used in the Crawford fight, a batch of defective leather was used in production, resulting in a malfunction during the competition. Everlast wrote in this statement, right? In such cases, Everlast follows proper protocol by providing a backup competition pair to be replaced pending a decision by the sanctioned body overseeing the fight. So they're admitting that the gloves were defective, but they did not pull them from use. That is negligence. You allowed a fighter. Was there any damage caused? Yes, the gloves broke open and the padding came out. Avanesyan has an argument that was why he got knocked out. You could argue he would have gotten knocked out anyways. But again, you're punching your opponent with gloves with the padding coming out. Crawford could have broken his hand. That was negligence. Again. And what? And what? Yes! Can they prove it? Why am I? This is just troll now. The padding didn't come out. Huge exaggeration. Once again, what do you mean the padding didn't come out? What do you mean the padding didn't come out? Antonio Tarver could see the padding coming out. Paulie Malignaggi could see the padding coming out. It's alleged that the padding was coming out since the fourth round. Again, here we go. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. There is no coulda, woulda, shoulda. Did you read the statement? The leather was defective. The leather was defective. That's negligence. This is just troll. It didn't come out that much. What do you mean it didn't come out that much? How do you know? You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that. You're just trying to troll and argue for the sake of arguing because you don't want to believe that you think that this takes away from Crawford's victory, and you're trying to defend Crawford here. That's all it is. So he could have easily thumbed him in the eye, you know. So it is what it is, man. The potential. Let's read the definition of negligence. Because you don't know law. What are the 4 types of negligence? Gross negligence, comparative negligence, contributory negligence, vicariously negligence, or vicarious liability. Okay, so the potential for harm, right, is a crime. It's a suable offense. What are the 5 required elements to prove negligence? Duty or breach of duty, cause, in fact, proximate cause, and harm. So if you're creating an environment where harm can occur, just because the harm does not occur, it's still fucking negligence. It's that simple. Where's the law? Once again, I have to continue to do this. Again, I have to continue to do this because you're ignorant and you guys don't want to believe. And I can't believe I'm actually lowering myself to this. Once again, what does this say? Business law and the legal environment. I took this in college, okay? Anytime I have a question, all right, I look in the book. I look up the laws. And again, every law has what's called torts, right? For different degrees, right? Different degrees of wrongdoing and violation of that specific law. Okay? Law is not black and white. All right? So you could sue for potential. What fault did the glove cause? You're hitting a guy with a glove with no padding in it. What do you mean? I think you're just trolling. I know you're just trolling. You're just trying to argue for the sake of argument. So if no harm can be done with padding, with padding taken out of a glove, then why even put padding in a glove? What's the sense of putting padding in a glove then? If your argument is that you can fight someone with padding coming out of a glove and no harm is going to be done, right? That no padding, that no damage is going to be done, right? Then why even put padding? What's the sense of putting padding in the glove then? Why do we have padding in the glove? Explain to me. Here we go. Here we go. Come on and argue your case. You're just trolling at this point. What did he break his face? Possibly the damage to his face and him getting knocked out could have been because he was getting hit with gloves that had no padding in them. You can't say that it wasn't. That's again. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because Antonio Margarito, right, entered that ring. Antonio Margarito was suspended by the commission before he went into the ring with Shane Mosley because he was using a pad that was too thick and had too much tape on it. So he got punished, even though he didn't go into the ring with that. He got punished and suspended by the commission for a year, right? And he lost his license for a year because of that. So what damage did he cause? Why did he get punished? No, I haven't read it. You're right. I haven't read it. You're just you're just trolling because you don't understand everything you're saying. So prove to me, show me a law where it says that you can be negligent and only get punished for it when you cause damage. Because I already gave you an example where Antonio Margarito did not cause damage, but he was punished. So why did Antonio Margarito get suspended for having an illegal pad in his glove with too much tape on it? Explain to me that situation. If he didn't cause any harm, why was he suspended? Because intent. Once again. So it's already been explained. It is not a non-issue regarding the results, because if a glove is split open during a fight, once again, the rule states that the glove cannot be twisted or manipulated in any way by contestants or others. If a glove breaks or a string becomes untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. All gloves must be checked by a commission prior. So it just says, what do you mean it's not a criminal law? So if a car company knowingly sells cars that have defective brakes, and people are driving around in a car with defective brakes, but no one dies, they're not breaking a law? They're not breaking a law by selling a car with defective brakes? So if you sell a glove that you're admitting was defective, right? You're misleading the public, and you knew the glove was defective, and you didn't pull that, right? You didn't pull that from your production line, and you still sold that glove. You're telling me that's not a law? So we can't continue with this discussion because you don't know the laws. Sorry. It is an issue. It is an issue. It is an issue. Show me where it says. So you're arguing against my point, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is show me a law that states negligence can only be enforced if damages occur. When you do that, then I'll open to the page. I need you to show me that law where negligence can only be enforced and damages can only be given to somebody because of damage. Show me that. Oh, show me your book. Show me your book. Show me your law where it says, right? Show me that. Show me that. I need you to show me that first. Show me that law where it states that only negligence, right? Only negligence. It's called consumer protection, right? Let's go to 144. We'll go to 144, right? Consumer protection began with the aim of protecting the persons of limited means and limited knowledge. This is the opening wedge, but the movement has expanded so that today objective is protecting everyone from being victimized. This is in keeping with American concept of equality before the law. If protection is needed, should be extended to everyone who needs it, basically. So consumer negligence. Consumer protection law is directed at protecting the consumer from misconduct of others. Disclosure provisions are frequently imposed in order to give the consumer the information that the consumer would lack and would not have enough experience on, right? Bargaining power to demand in a limited number of situations, the consumer is given the power to restrict and transact. In hindsight, makes the consumer unhappy with the deal that has been made, basically. So if you're selling the consumer, right, a product that is defective knowingly, and you're misleading that consumer, right, that is negligence. It's called consumer negligence. Okay? Action by consumer. Some consumer protection statutes provide that a consumer who is harmed by a violation of the statutes may sue the enterprise that acted, right, improperly. The consumer may sue to recover a specified penalty or may bring an action on behalf of the consumer's class. Consumer protection statutes are often designed to rely private litigation as an aid to enforcement the statutory provisions. The Consumer Protection Safety Act authorizes an interested person to bring a civil action to enforce consumer product safety rule in certain orders of the Consumer Product Safety Commission. In some cases, however, the individual consumer cannot bring any action and enforcement of the law entrusted exclusively to administrative agency. In any case, the plaintiff must show misconduct of any kind prohibited by the statutes, right? The seller or lender engages in improper consumer practices may be subject to civil penalties and criminal punishment. In some instances, the laws in question are general laws applicable to improper conduct, while in other cases, the laws are specifically aimed at the particular consumer practices. An example of the violation of a general law is a contractor who falsely stated to a homeowner that certain repairs needed on the roof cost with labor and materials $650. In fact, they cost only $200. So if you mislead the consumer in any way, you could be sued for damages. So if you're giving a fighter gloves that are made with defective leather, right? And you don't tell him that, you could be sued for damages. It says it right there in the book. You don't have to cause harm to anyone. All you do is, if you're misleading somebody, if they did not tell the fighter beforehand that he was using a glove with defective leather, right? Then they are misleading that fighter. Simple and plain. So now show me your book that states I'm wrong. Once again, this is called cognitive dissonance. I already proved to you what they did was wrong by not telling the fighter that the glove had defective leather on it. Just like this. You could have sex with the girl who has AIDS, right? Full-blown AIDS, right? She doesn't tell you that she has AIDS, and she knowingly has sex with you, right? And you may not get AIDS just by luck of the draw, but you found out that she has AIDS. She showed you a medical document saying she has AIDS. You can sue her for potential harm, even though you didn't get AIDS, because it's a law that if you have AIDS and you have sex with somebody knowingly, right, unprotected, that person can sue you. It's that simple. It's a criminal offense for her not to tell. Yes, even though you don't get AIDS, she has to tell you that. I don't know. What defect did the leather cause? You tell me. Tell me what defect did the leather cause? What happened to the gloves during the fight? Tell me. I don't know. I'm going to play stupid like you. What happened to the gloves? What happened to both pairs? What happened to both gloves during the fight? as early as the 4th round. Tell me what happened. No, you don't. No, you don't. I just read the law to you. I explained to you you don't need. If you knowingly sell somebody a defective product, you can be sued for consumer negligence. Already was you asked me to read you the law. I read you the fucking law. Simple and plain. So the conversation has now been ended because proof has been given to you, right? And you're just trying to troll now. Simple and plain. Simple and plain. We already know what's going on there. So yeah. So Terrence, we don't know if Terrence Crawford knew that the glove was damaged. We don't know if he knew that the glove was faulty. All we know is Everlast knew the glove was faulty. Right? And apparently, we don't know if Terrence Crawford knew. We can't prove that. Because Everlast came out with the statement after the fight, not before it. Right? So if they knew that the glove was faulty and they didn't do anything about it and they still sold the glove, that's consumer negligence. That is consumer negligence. Because just like, as I said, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, if 10 people report that that airbag is faulty in a car, right? Everyone that owns that car is going to get that letter. Bring your car in to get looked at. We're going to recall this part and you need to get it replaced. Whether or not I've got several recall notices on my car. The airbag's this, such and such is that. I never had an issue with any of those things, but someone else did. And because someone else did, what happens is, for the sake of safety and potential harm, the product gets recalled, and you have to bring your car in and get that product replaced. Whether or not damage is you got hurt or not, they have to tell you that there are certain models of that car with that particular item in it that have been faulty. And you have the option to get it corrected. You're supposed to get it corrected, and they're supposed to tell you that. And if they don't tell you that, then that is called consumer neglect. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple. And they broke the law, allegedly. If they knowingly knew the gloves were defective and they did not pull them from sale or from use, then they could be held liable. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's not open for debate. It's not open for debate. And if Crawford, we don't know if, like, again, we can't say that Crawford knew this, but it is what it is. And that was actually the backup pair that were used. That wasn't the first pair of gloves. That was the backup pair, right? And both gloves were the same brand. And both gloves allegedly were defective because something happened to the first pair, allegedly, and that's why the first pair wasn't used. So once again, it doesn't matter if the backup pair was used. If the backup pair failed, then that's a problem. So whether or not you can give somebody 1,000 pairs of defective gloves, if they're all defective, it doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. And if that brand has specific items that have been deemed defective, right? Then you have to pull that whole line because you don't know which ones are going to come up defective and which ones aren't. It's like anything else. Oh, if there's a batch of aspirin that has been made and 3 people died from consuming that batch with that specific lot number on it. Guess what happens? They don't say, oh, only 3 people died. We're going to roll the dice here and just hopefully no one else will die from it. What do? They pull that whole lot off the market. It's that simple. It's that simple. They don't play Russian roulette with people's lives. They take the whole brand off the market that was made in that batch in that lot. That's what they do for the sake of safety. Right? So for the sake of safety, those gloves should have been pulled and not be allowed and not have been used. Everlast, at the very least, should have informed Crawford. Yeah, I don't. These gloves are made with defective leather. They should have pulled them. Let us give you a different. We'll give you a different brand. No, they gave him the same model of gloves, knowing that they were defective, that they were defective. They were defective gloves in that batch. They knew. So that's consumer negligence. 100%. Yes. If someone's, it's like the lemon law. If I knowingly sell you a car that's a lemon, right? You can sue me for that. Yes, it's called consumer negligence. It's that simple. Yes. There's nothing you can say to change it. I know you don't want it to be that way. I know you're upset. I know you don't want this to have Crawford's victory to be tainted, but unfortunately it is, because his gloves busted open. It's that simple. I know you don't like it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope you feel better. I hope this gets resolved and you feel better about yourself after this video. I know it hurts you that I'm saying Crawford's gloves busted open in the fight, and I know you don't like the fact that the referee made a mistake and the commission made a mistake, and I know you don't like the fact that the rules weren't followed. I know you hate the fact that Crawford was punching a guy with padding coming out of his gloves. I know that hurts you. It's obvious from your comments that you don't like that. It bothers you that happened. But I'm sorry it happened. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm sorry that bothers you. I'm sorry that it bothers you that legally, potentially, Everlast committed a crime here, and they could be held liable. I know that bothers you. I know you don't want Everlast. I know you love Everlast and you want to defend Everlast, and it hurts you. I'm sorry about that, but I can't do anything about it. I'm not the one that knowingly made new gloves were defective and I didn't do anything about it. That's not my fault. Don't blame me for that. Don't blame me for that. This is their words. During the development cycle of the custom fight gloves used in the Crawford versus Avanesyan fight, a batch of defective leather was used in production, resulting in a malfunction during the competition. Everlast wrote in its statement, "That's not my fault. Why are you mad at me? I didn't make the glove. They knowingly made a glove that they knew was defective. That's not my fault. Why are you blaming me for that? I didn't do it. Why does that bother you? Why are you mad at me I read their statement? Is it illegal to sell a defective product knowingly?" So product liability claims generally address three major types of defects. Defective design. There is a flaw in the design of the product itself that made the product unsafe to be used as intended. Design defects impact the entire product line. Defective malfunctioning. Malfunctioning defects occur during the manufacturing process and can be caused by machinery malfunctions or sustained malfunction in processes that put consumers at risk. These defects may only affect certain product batches. Okay. So defective marketing, this happens when a company does not include adequate warnings about known or foreseeable risks using the product. Product liability law, manufacturers strictly liable for product defects that cause injury during normal use. When bringing up product liability lawsuit, you need to establish that the product is defective and you suffered losses because you used a defective product. So I mean, I don't know how to explain this any better for you. It's you can't knowingly sell a defective product. It's illegal. With regard to product liability, defendant is liable when the plaintiff proves that the product is defective. Regardless of the defendant's intent, it is irrelevant whether the manufacturer or supplier exercised great care. If there is a defect in a product that causes harm, or he or she will be liable for it. Okay? What happens if you prove a product is defective? If you demonstrate that the product possesses danger that the consumer would not notice, then the product the product that the person's being used, liability will depend on whether the warnings instructions were detailed enough. So you have to tell somebody of potential danger for a product that's why they put warning labels on cigarettes. Why do they put warning labels on cigarettes if not everyone that smokes cigarettes gets cancer? Because the potential is you can get cancer. So that's simple and plain. Simple and plain. So they could be sued for damages if they knowingly produced a product that could potentially cause harm. Just read you everything, but you haven't but you're just making statements. Provide me statements. Provide me litigation, laws, statutes, torts that say that in order to sue someone for negligence, right? Someone has to be harmed. I mean, I've already told you everything. I know you're angry. It bothers you. I know you don't like that Crawford is in this situation. It's not. I'm not saying it's his fault. Maybe you have friends on the Nebraska State Athletic Commission. Maybe you're friends with the referee. I don't know, but there's got to be a reason why you're defending these people. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry you feel that way. But yeah, so we'll see how this all plays out, man. People care more about phentermine than they care about a glove splitting open and causing. Where's Simon Jordan complaining about the fact that this referee and commission allowed this fight to go on with padding coming out of the gloves? But we're more concerned about someone testing positive for PEDs. We're more concerned about that. We're more concerned about that. That's what we're concerned about. You know? We're more concerned about protecting commissions and referees instead of protecting fighters. That's where we're going right now. We got people in the chat who are more concerned with the reputation, protecting the reputation and image of a commission and a referee, and not caring whether or not a fighter is getting hit with gloves with no padding in it, or padding coming out. That's where we're at right now. Congratulations, man. That's where we're at right now. We got Simon Jordan telling everyone, "Oh yeah, Connor Benza is a nice guy. I hope he's telling the truth." But Eddie Hearn is the asshole. Eddie Hearn is the wrong person. Eddie Hearn is basically, fulfilling his contractual obligation, but he's the one who's wrong. That's the thing. That's the thing. We're more concerned about protecting a referee and a commission over the safety and health of a fighter. That's where we're at right now, 2022. December 17th, 2022. That's what we're more concerned about. We're more concerned about fertility drugs than people getting punched in the face with fucking gloves that have the fucking thumb, no padding in the thumb. People can get thumbed and get. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Right? And no one's blaming Crawford here. Right? But Everlast admitted that this brand of glove was made with defective leather. And what was their answer for it? Oh, we'll give you a backup pair just in case the glove rips. But what about the damage caused by punching the guy with the damaged glove? So the thumb rips and the fighter's thumb's coming out of the glove. And he thumbs the guy in the eye with the damaged glove. And then the guy suffers a retinal tear. Are you going to pay for that guy's damages? Are you going to accept responsibility for that damage? So that's the thing, man. What good is it providing a backup pair of gloves if the backup pair of gloves fails too? Because he used the backup pair of gloves, and those were the gloves that failed. And allegedly, the first pair, there was something wrong with them. So if you have two pairs of the same defective glove, I repeat, what difference does it make that you're providing two pairs of defective gloves? What difference does it make if you're providing 10 pairs of defective gloves? If there's a recall on a 2022 fucking Toyota Corolla, right? And you just provide someone with another Corolla that has that same defect, what problem are you solving? None. None. So I'm sorry if you're related to that referee and you have friends in that commission and you want to run interference for them. That's what you want to do. I can't help you on that one. If you don't see what the problem is here, then I don't know what to say. 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 They broke their rules. They're supposed to correct the glove issue, right? They're not supposed to wait till the round is completed. They're not supposed to see that the gloves are damaged at the beginning of the round, right? And instead of not starting that round and swapping the gloves out then and there, which they did in the Muhammad Ali-Henry Cooper fight, as soon as the referee discovered that those gloves were damaged on Muhammad Ali, that one glove was torn, he was ordered to replace that glove. Immediately, he replaced that glove. He didn't let the round go on first and then replace it afterwards. So it's that simple. It's that simple. Right? I don't know any other way to explain it. I don't know any other way to explain it. I mean, if the gloves are damaged and the manufacturer of that glove knows that the leather that was made, the leather used to make that glove was defective, and they don't say anything before the fight, but they say it after the fight, only they're just crossing their fingers and rolling the dice, hoping that those gloves don't break during the fight. I mean, you'd be just like, why can't we just admit that what went on was wrong? Why can't we just admit that? I'm sorry if you love Everlast, if you want to defend Everlast, if that maybe you work for Everlast, maybe you have relatives that work for Everlast, maybe your girlfriend works for Everlast, and you don't want to put her in a negative light. I'm sorry if all these things are happening right now. I'm sorry that you have to go through this pain of knowing that Everlast knowingly did something that was incorrect here. I'm sorry. I am so sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you're hurt. Why are you directing? I didn't make the gloves. I didn't make the statement. I wasn't the referee during the fight. I didn't write the rule. This is the rule. This is the rule. The commission's rule. They broke their own rule. I didn't break the rule. It's not me. It's not me. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I don't know why I don't know why you're upset at me. I'm just an advocate for fair play. I'm just an advocate for, if you have rules, you follow them. That's the world I live in. I mean, if you want to maybe you live in the wild, wild west where people can do whatever they want. That laws don't mean anything. Okay. Maybe you're a libertarian and you think people should be able to do whatever they want. That's fine. We have philosophical differences. I believe rules should be followed, right? I believe if someone finds out that the product they made is defective, then they need to let the consumers know, and they need to do a recall on that product, and they need to pull that product from sale or from use. That's what I believe. Now, if you believe it doesn't matter, if you believe in the wild, wild west where people can just build buildings that are unsafe, yeah, we're going to build this building. We're not going to follow the code. And all the buildings we make, only 10 people died. I mean, we sold buildings to 100 people, 1,000 people, million people, but only 100 people died. So it doesn't matter. I mean, we're just going to go ahead and still make that building, even though we know that the potential for harm is there. So we don't care. That's the world we're going to live in right now. We're going to live in the wild, wild west where consumers can do anything they want. They can knowingly put out trash products. Contractors can knowingly just make buildings that they know are unsafe, cross their fingers and hope that maybe that wire doesn't become faulty and cause an electric fire. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to cross our fingers and hope for the best, which is essentially what Everlast did. They made a glove that they knew was defective. They didn't, Terrence Crawford used it. They didn't appear to advise Terrence Crawford that the glove was defective. Right? And they knowingly put out a glove, had a fighter use it that they knew was defective. Okay. If that is your stance, right? If that is your stance, then we have philosophical differences. And we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that. So Lennox West believes that it's okay to knowingly and admittedly sell a product that was defective and sell it to consumers. That's his stance. Okay. Then we're just we're on opposite sides here. That's fine. Lennox believes that rules don't have to be followed. Right? Rules don't have to be followed. Rules can be made, right? So we don't have to put safety procedures in place, right? We can just do anything we want. So fighters can fight with padding coming out of gloves as long as they don't hurt the other fighter. That's Lennox's stance, right? We don't even know what damage those gloves caused to David Avanesyan, right? We don't know that. That's the argument, though. That's the argument being put forth. What's the sense of even having padding in the gloves? Fuck it. You know what we'll do? We'll just do blood sport. We'll wrap the gloves up, dip them in resin, and then we'll dip them in glass, and we'll just have fighters fight like that. Fuck it. Why even have rules? Fuck it. Let's just have the wild, wild west. We have people in here that are friends with commissioners, friends with the referee, friends with Everlast. And this is why the sport is so fucking ridiculous. Right? Everyone protects everyone else except the fighter. Right? The fighter is always the last to get taken care of and cared about. Fuck David Avanesyan getting punched in the face with gloves that have padding coming out of them. That's fine. Okay. So now, what fighters should do in between rounds is the trainers should just cut their gloves, right? And have the padding come out of them, right? And fight that whole round without the padding, with padding missing from the gloves. Because now we set a precedent where you can fight a whole round with padding coming out of the glove, right? Punching a guy in the face with padding coming out of the glove. We're going to start allowing fighters to do that from now on. That's the new precedent that we're setting now. And we'll swap them out at the end of the round. Good job, guys. Good job. That's what these guys want to do. All right. I'm sorry I disagree with you. Because in the world I live in, I believe we should try to provide safety for the fighters. Right? I believe if there is padding coming out of a glove for the sake of safety, right? I think the glove should be immediately swapped out. I don't think the fighter should have to go through the whole round, right? And being punched in the face with padding coming out of the glove. I don't think that should be allowed. And the Nebraska Athletic Commission doesn't believe that should be allowed. And the ABC, the Association of Boxing Commissions, does not believe that should be allowed because it states that in their rules that they said, right, as I said 1,000 times on here, which everyone wants to ignore. And it doesn't matter. Right? The referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. Right? The glove issue needs to be corrected. What does the word corrected mean? Let's look up the word corrected. Because maybe I'm the dummy here. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So let's look what the word corrected means. Corrected definition. Okay. What does the word corrected mean? Put right an error or fault, right? That's one definition of the word, right? Correct an issue. Meaning, what does that mean? We do something which puts it right. Resolving an issue. When you fix a mistake, you make a correction, a change that rights a wrong, right? When you correct a misspelled word, you made a correction, right? You correct it. So if something is wrong, if you correct a problem, mistake, or fault, you do something which puts it right. Right? So the rules clearly state that you're supposed to fight with a glove that is not torn or damaged. Right? So you're correcting the issue. Taking action to remove errors, faults, deviations, or defects. That's what the word correct means. So you're supposed to remove the defect. You're supposed to take action to remove the error, the deviations, or the faults. That's what the rule states. And the referee did not do that. The commission did not do that. So they broke their own rule, simple and plain. And if you want to ignore that, right, then that's your problem. Then you want to rewrite history. You want to change the rule. You don't want to follow the rule. That's the thing. That's what you want. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that there are people who think it's okay. I know it hurts you guys. Oh, why are you coming down on the referee? Why are you blaming the commission? Oh, Everlast didn't do anything wrong. They're just trying to sell gloves and make a living. Who cares if the leather is defective? It's not their job to provide safety for the fighters and give them a glove that protects their hands and protects their opponents as well. That's not the job of wearing a glove. Let's look up the purpose of using the boxing gloves. Primary reason boxing gloves are used in the sport of boxing is to protect the boxer's hand from injury. Hand injury is a common combat sports despite glove use. A really easy way to emphasize just how much boxing gloves protect the hands is by watching an old school bare knuckle match. Okay? Are boxing gloves necessary? Okay? Striking another person's hand without delicate hands results in injured hands, bones. Therefore, it is the utmost importance for someone training combat sports like boxing to wear boxing gloves. Protecting finger joint dislocation. Reducing bloodbath. Okay, so it's a pretty common phenomenon that competitors bleed from the forehead to the nose during a boxing match, but some serious thunderbolt punching can follow through into the more type of bleeding that results in a blood loss due to a fight happens much more frequently if a boxer doesn't use gloves. Bare knuckle boxing reduces the area and drastically increases the force. This results in increased damage that consequently ends in a bloodbath between the two fighters. So again, all these things mean nothing. We're just going to let fighters just punch each other with no padding in the gloves now, because Crawford would have won anyways. So fuck David Avanesyan. That's the stance, right? Okay. That's the way you feel. All right. We have a difference of opinion. I think fighters should be protected from getting punched in the face with gloves that have padding lost to them. Right? I think commissions and referees should follow their own rules when they make them. Because what's the sense of having rules? That's what I feel. That's what I feel. I mean, if you don't believe that rules should be followed, and you don't believe that manufacturers of gloves, if they know a product is defective, then they should not sell the product or not allow the product to be used. If you don't believe those things, then we're on different sides here. That's it. I'm sorry. I mean, that's all I could say. All right. Morning, G Funky. That's all I can say. I can't argue with you guys if that's what you believe. You know, at the end of the day, why don't we just throw out all the rules? Why don't we just let people do whatever they want? Why don't we let fighters just take bats in the ring? Fuck it. Who cares? Crawford would have won anyway. So why not just let him bring a bat in the ring and just hit David Avanesyan with a bat? You know what? Why not just let Crawford fight with no gloves? Who cares? Who cares? Why even have rules? That's your argument, guys. We just want to have rules. We'll just let people do whatever they want. That's all. That's all. You know what? We'll let people sell products that don't even work. How's that? Right? We'll sell pairs of sneakers to people that after they wear them for a day, right, the sneaker just rips and falls apart. And guess what? Then they have to go out and buy another sneaker. Yes, that we can make more money off that, right? Who cares? Who cares if someone's running on defective sneakers and the sole rips, they end up tearing up their fucking ligaments in there. We don't care about all that. That doesn't matter. Because guess what? They can always just go out and buy another pair of sneaker. Oh, Crawford, it was 2 sets of gloves. You guys, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. I love it, man. You guys provide me with great entertainment. It's okay. It's okay for Everlast to sell gloves that they knew were defective. It doesn't matter. We'll start selling cars that have defective brakes. We'll start selling television sets that after an hour, the screen just goes out. We'll start selling cell phones that the chip just evaporates after fucking a week. Then you have to go out and buy another phone. Oh, so what? We'll just give you another phone. Same thing happens to that phone. Oh, well, that's all right. We'll just give you another phone. That's the new world we're gonna live in. This is the new world, man. This is the bizarro world. This is the bizarro world. This is the quantum realm where nothing matters anymore. I get it. Fair enough. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Okay. So, as if it would have made a difference. Okay. So anytime the A side fights a B side fighter, in between rounds, he should just cut his gloves. You know why? Because it won't make a difference. As if you know that it won't make a difference. As if you know that if someone fights with padding coming out of a gloves or the thumb coming out of someone's glove, right? G-Funky, this point's irrelevant with all due respect because as soon as the glove was discovered that it was torn before the start of the 6th round, and the referee said, we're going to let this round go and we're going to swap out the gloves after the round. That, with all due respect, that point's irrelevant because they were going to get the backup gloves because the referee said we're going to swap them out at the end of the round. The rule clearly states, right? During the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. Nowhere does it say we're going to wait till the end of the round. The glove issue is supposed to be corrected right when it's identified. Just like when tape comes off the glove, just like when the string comes off the glove, the ties come off the glove. They don't wait till after the round to fix the tape or retie the glove. They fix the issue right when it happens. So they didn't follow their own rules because it says you take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. Nowhere in the rule does it say we're going to wait till the round ends. All these other points are irrelevant. They're irrelevant because they broke their own rules. They broke their own rules. And I don't blame them. I don't blame the fighter. I don't blame the corner because they were doing what they were instructed to do by the referee and by the commission. I'm blaming the commission, and thank you, D-Style. Shout out to D-Style. Hope you're feeling better, brother. This video, everyone is deflecting. Why deflect? Why deflect? And I'm not saying you're deflecting, G-Funky, but everyone else in this chat is deflecting by saying, oh, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Oh, he was going to get knocked out anyways. Okay. So every time a fighter is a huge underdog and the potential is he's going to get knocked out anyways, then we might as well just allow the A-side fighter who's going to knock, who's perceived to get the knockout anyways, will just start cutting gloves open. Because it's not going to matter. It doesn't matter anyways. So we'll just start cutting gloves open and let padding come out of gloves. We'll just let that happen. When someone says, oh, you know, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, he would have got knocked out anyways. Once again, that's not the argument here. The argument is, the rule is, the issue is supposed to be corrected immediately. Muhammad Ali, Henry Cooper. As soon as that glove was discovered that it was cut open, the referee swapped it out immediately. He didn't wait till the round was over. You don't let the guy fight. You don't let the guy fight, right? You don't let the guy fight with padding coming out of his gloves. You don't let the guy fight with torn gloves. You don't say that we're going to wait till after the round. I'm going to drop a link for you, and just tell me what your argument is. Did the commission break their own rule, yes or no? I mean, this is the highest level of cognitive dissonance. This is the highest level of cognitive dissonance. I'm reading you a rule, and I'm giving you examples of when the rule was actually followed correctly, right? Many times you'll see the tape come off. The ref stops it, brings the guy back to the corner. The tape gets fixed. Why? Because the tape can go in someone's eye. Sometimes the lacing comes loose, and the glove can fall off immediately. The glove issue gets fixed. Why in this instance was the rule not followed? It was incompetence. So why can't we just say, yeah, I agree? Like Ralph summed it up completely perfect. Yeah, would Crawford have probably got the knockout? Yeah. Did it really have an impact on the fight? No. But could it have caused potential more damage? Yes. So, Remy, I don't know what this is addressed to. Fuck you, Beeb. When did I say that? I haven't mentioned your name once during any of my criticism. So please elaborate. Or unless you're being facetious here, I don't know. I don't know if you're just being facetious and you're kind of like calling out what other, like kind of taking a shot at other people, but I don't know. Please explain yourself. I don't know what that means, because I haven't said anything bad about you. So yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. So these sanctioning bodies, they got to follow their own rules, man. They got to follow their own rules. So it is what it is, man. I don't know what Lennox's argument is. I don't know why he feels the need to defend the commission. I don't know why he feels the need to defend the referee. I don't know why he feels the need to defend Everlast. I don't understand it. Why does Avanesyan not matter? The fact that he's in a fight being punched with gloves that have padding coming out of them and they're torn. Why does that not matter? Why does he not have a legitimate complaint here? If you were him, what would you do in this situation? Would you just say, hey, that's cool? Right? Why wouldn't you wonder why the fight wasn't stopped and the gloves were swapped out? You wouldn't care? Be honest, you wouldn't care. Why would that not bother you if you were that fighter? It would bother me. I don't care if I'm fighting King Kong. I don't care if I'm 1,001 underdog. I'm already at a disadvantage. I'm already the B side. I'm already at a skill gap disadvantage. And then I gotta go. Then I gotta fight around with a guy that has padding coming out of his gloves. You're gonna add to that? Oh well, you would have lost anyways. So who cares if the padding's coming out of the glove and the guy's thumb goes in your eye and you tear your retina? Doesn't matter. All you would, I mean, you're going to lose anyway. So who cares if you have a tan retina? You can get the surgery and correct it. Okay, so it's trivial to you that a fighter is allowed to fight with the padding coming out of his gloves. Okay, if that's your stance. If it's trivial to you that someone can just knowingly, the referee will allow someone to fight with the gloves that are torn, right? And the padding is coming out of it. If you're gonna justify that, then that's fine. Gee, I mean, I don't understand what's so difficult about the points I'm making here. Can you correct me if I'm wrong, please? What am I getting wrong here? Like, are we just gonna go into bizarro world? We're gonna live in the wild, wild west, and we're just not gonna follow rules?
No, I agree, man. With my original statement in the chat, I was just kind of pointing out what I had seen when I went back to watch the fight. I did see somebody, I don't know who it was, that went to get the backup pair of gloves for Crawford, but the fight ended in that round. But no, you're right. I think as soon as they discovered it, they should have definitely changed the gloves, no doubt about it.
And they discovered it right at the beginning of the round, and they were going to allow, and they did allow Terrence Crawford to fight from the start of the round on till it ended with the torn gloves instead of just swapping them out right then and there. It was wrong.
Yeah, no, the commission definitely dropped the ball there. You know,
should
you discover
technically, should this fight be a no contest in your opinion?
That I can't answer because I don't know. I haven't really dug deep into like what happens in these kind of situations, you know. But if that's what the rules say, then it is what it is,
well,
you know.
If the rule says, right, that the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected, that's in their rule, and that rule is not followed, and they break their own rule. Does David Avanesyan have an argument that this fight should be a no contest because the rule was not, their own rule was not followed? If it says it in there, if it's their own rule that says, right, the glove issue is supposed to be corrected. Nowhere in this rule does it say that the round should continue until after the round and then the issue should be corrected. Because we've seen, as soon as the tape comes loose, what does the referee do? Stops the action and the tape gets fixed.
Yeah.
So I think this fight should be a no contest based on them breaking their own rules. Now,
no, yeah, I agree that they definitely could have done a much better job, especially before the round. I'm not sure who the referee reached out to before the round started.
I think he's having some connection issues. Well, you back?
Can you hear me now, Beep?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, man. I'm on my phone and I have received a phone call. I got my little girls with me right now. They're begging for it. Yeah,
the kids are adorable, man. Shout out to G Funky's kids, man. They're adorable. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm doing the parent thing right now.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
I just want to chime in real quickly and say that I'm not quite sure who the referee reached out to before the round started. I don't know who that person is. I'm not familiar with.
It was someone from the commission.
Yeah, whoever that was said it was okay for him to continue that round. I think at that point, definitely they should have just said, "Hey, let's just call time, send someone to get those backup pair of gloves, and let's get them on, and then we can continue the fight." You know.
And you could clearly hear the referee say, "We're going to swap these gloves out after this round."
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely could have been handled much better, man. But I don't want to be on here and have my kids crying in the background.
No. Shout out to you, man. Thanks for coming in and speaking your piece, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, B. And I'll be listening in, man.
All right, man. Thank you, brother. Yeah. So that's it, man. I mean, there's not much more I can say about this. I have my stance on it, and I just think that it was handled inappropriately. We got Michael Rivera versus Frank Martin tonight. We got Rocky Fielding versus Dan Aziz. So we got a couple fights tonight. yeah, so we're gonna close out this year with kind of a whimper, but I don't know. We've had a decent year. I can't complain too much. But yeah, man, that's probably all. That's probably all. Again, Lennox, come on, bro. Stop, man. Stop. Why can't you? Why can't you just say that they fucked up? Why is it so hard to just say that what they did was wrong? What is the need to defend them? Like, I don't understand. Like, if this is not the highest level of cognitive dissonance, then I don't know. Like, if I'm reading you their own rule, I'm reading you the rule of the Nebraska Athletic Commission. I'm reading you the rule of the ABC. He said, no, I do not think they effed up. Then you don't believe that rules should be followed. Then you think that we're going to have the wild, wild west. So from now on, you just set up, you set a precedent. You made, this is what he said. Look what he said. I do not think they effed up. That's what he's saying, right? So from now on, moving forward, rules do not have to be followed anytime you talk about an issue, right? Oh, you said I do think they effed up. I apologize. I read it wrong. My fault. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. It says I do think they effed up. I thought it said I do not think they effed up. I apologize. I apologize. I read it wrong. So it is what it is. Okay, Remy. That's what I kind of thought you meant, but I wasn't sure. I just had to confirm that. Thank you, brother. I kind of thought you were being facetious, but I just had to confirm it. You're one of my you're an OG on here. I just want to make sure that things good. All right, have a good Christmas, Lennox, man. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it bothers you that the referees getting criticized here and the commission's getting criticized. I hope you send them a Christmas card. I hope you send the Nebraska Athletic Commission a Christmas card and the referee a Christmas card. And while you're at it, probably maybe you should start endorsing Everlast gloves now too, man. Since it's okay that they're selling faulty gloves, but yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, man. Peace out, man. Peace out to all you Everlast Knights out there, man. Yeah, man, I've been on here for 3 hours. There's not much more I can say, man. At this point, I'm rambling, but I want to thank everyone in the chat. Peace out to everybody. And I know I've been kind of slow with these videos, but shit's kind of hectic, man, and it is what it is. But yeah, I'll catch up with you guys, man. Peace out. Have a great day, man, everyone. Salute. Take care.